What's happening, San Diego? Welcome back inside our Odyssey Studios. It's your new midday hang. It is Annie and Elsten here with you for the next 4 hours. Live local San Diego sports talk radio with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet. Craig Elsten here with you in our studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. Annie, a very pleasant good morning to you. What's going on?
Happy Wednesday, Craig. I am loading up the computer here as usual.
Positive vibes Wednesday.
I like that. Right away.
Positive vibes.
Should we bring in
Wednesday.
Jurickson Profar? Profar positivity?
He's been doing pretty well.
Profar production.
It's needed today.
That's right.
We need it a little bit today. Isn't it crazy how just one day changes everything?
It was a reminder to me that as much as, and I appreciate that there are things that are different about last year. And I think at the end of this year, we could get to the end of 2024 and be like, you know what? These guys were right. This is different than last year. I think as we've been saying all along, 13 games in or whatever we're at now, there are shades of last year, and then there are some things that are not. And time will tell whether we still have some things that we brought over with us from last year, some things that, maybe are not yet to be extinguished inside this Padres roster. And I thought that last night was the one thing that you just couldn't have happen. And it wasn't even that they lost, Craig.
Yeah.
Braden and I were just talking about this. It wasn't even that they lost. It was that you had to go out there, put up some runs, put up some fight. Don't let this unknown pitcher who deserves to be in the big leagues. Like anybody who gets in the big leagues, obviously you're talented. They can get you on any given night, but it looked too much like what we've seen in the past.
Felt like 2023 all over again.
Oh, yeah.
I
Understatement of the year.
I just didn't want to go through this. How many times? It makes me want to go back to the game logs. How many times that they had a big win. And it's like, this is our flagpole win. We just put our flag in the ground. Now we're going. Now we're ready. Next game, we're facing a guy with an 11 ERA, and we'll be shut out. We'll just be completely shut down, stymied, flummoxed, nothing for anyone to do. And then you'd come, oh, well, that's baseball. We'll go get him tomorrow, and that's what it was. This was a game, you just said it, Annie. We needed to come out with some pop, some urgency. And let me tell you, the very first two batters set a tone for me in this game because we're looking for that. We're ready. We're amped up. Here's Xander. He's up there. Great at bat. Not even a good, great at bat. Just what you want, right? First guy up, foul some pitches. Make sure you see the fastball and the knuckle curve from this kid. Gets the ball he wants. Boom, down the left field line. Leadoff double. Here come the Padres. Here comes Tatis. We're ready to go. Tatis, some decent contact. Gets it out to center. Xander gets froggy.
Yeah.
He's not Ha-Seong Kim fast. He's not, the fastest player. He's not Tatis fast. He's kind of fast. And Bellinger's got a really good arm. One of the best arms in the league. He's had it for years. But on a medium center field fly ball, Xander tries to tag up in advance. I know Mike Schilt defended the play afterwards.
He did.
He's going to defend every baseball play.
Liked the fact that Xander, just in what Mike Schilt said, he liked the fact that Xander made them throw a baseball play, made them work for the out, the Cubbies and Bellinger, and that he was aggressive.
Sure. Didn't work. And you wound up killing an inning that looked really promising. The very next inning, Manny gets up, leadoff base hit. Here we go, Profar, boop, double play, 4-6-3. And you just felt it as Joe was doing okay, not terrible, not good, but getting those two shutout innings on the board. And we've got the young kid out there ready to get on the ropes, get the leadoff guy on each inning, out, two, next batter, 2 outs, nobody on, both times. And I really felt like that set the cruddy tone for what happened the rest of the game, where they were pancake flat, Eggy Rosario solo, and that's it for the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, Benjamin Button, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Brown, whoever whoever he was, again, this was his first start in the majors.
Yeah.
I mean, the
After
guy
signing the Declaration of Independence and
Yeah.
founding our country, shoved it.
And again, I'm not saying like, he had good stuff, I'm not saying that like he doesn't, he doesn't put up a challenge, but I did feel like there were, you felt like there could have at least been some more base hits. There could have at least worked a little bit more, a few more walks. You could have at least done something more against this guy. And it was just more the pattern. It was more just that, it was more just the pattern of a big win followed by coming out and just looking like, not like they're not trying. I didn't feel like they weren't trying, but just a little flat. And then now looking at this rubber game as, okay, well, we could take the series win. Now, honestly, I thought they'd already won a series. I mean, this is my demented brain working this season. I didn't realize, I did realize, but I must have just optimistically thought it in my brain. But they tied with the Giants that first series. So this would be, if they win today, it's their first series win of the season. You need to be getting more of these series wins if you're going to end up in the playoffs at the end of the season.
Yeah, it'd be nice to win a series. That's kind of that'd be great, Padres.
It's a good recipe.
Yeah, it's good. Great game plan. Love it.
We knew this was going to be a tough schedule to start the season. The Padres have seen nothing yet but playoff aspiring teams. Guess what? There's a lot of playoff aspiring teams in the National League. There's plenty of playoff aspiring teams that they'll bump into in the American League along the way. There's like 4 or 5 teams that aren't trying. And here's a crazy thing. The Marlins are trying and they lose every game, but there's not many dead spots in the schedule. You've got to forge your way forward. And, we'll talk more about all aspects of this, but right now, today, I'm focused on an offense that burns bright, and then not at all. And this team has done, as we talked about yesterday, a better job of creating big innings, right? They've had 7 innings of 4 runs or more already this season. However, they are dotting every single scoreline with zeros and getting their runs in 1 or 2 innings every game. And I just don't feel like this team right now is applying consistent pressure to opposing pitchers. And that's what's the big differentiator between this team and, of course, the team we're all chasing, Los Angeles. Like last night, Mookie Betts didn't homer. Freddie Freeman didn't homer. Oh, Shohei Ohtani didn't homer.
James Outman did.
And Will Smith did.
Right.
They grind. Their whole lineup grinds every game. And if they don't get the result today, they get it tomorrow. But 1-9, they have a philosophy.
They have selfless at-bats, Craig. Selfless at-bats. They know that the guy behind them can get the job done just as much as they can, and they don't swing out of the zone on pitches because they want to be the guy. It's almost like the Padres right now have a team of NCAA tournament players that want to hit the big 3 in the big spot, and they're chucking up 3s or swinging for the fences instead of doing their job and going to get a quick 2 or passing it along to one of their teammates to get the job done. With the Dodgers, if there's a pitch that's like kind of middle away that Mookie can't hit out of the park, he's going to do what he can to either put it in a spot that benefits the team, or he'll spit on it. And then because he knows the next guy can get the job done. That's why their bottom of the order does such a great job. But this Padres team, we haven't seen that from an offensive philosophy in the last really 2 years.
And the message that Mike Schultz and Victor Rodriguez and this hitting staff, this coaching staff is sending is that more situational hitting. Every at-bat is a situation. Just move the next guy along. Do what the game is telling you. Manny says it all the time. Look at the scoreboard. What is the game telling you to do? And that's what Braden is saying. It's not, it's not necessarily drive it out of the park. It's not necessarily get a double. It could sometimes be a walk or a 9-pitch AB like we saw Jake Cronenworth that ended with a home run. But even if he didn't end that way, he would have given this team something with seeing all those pitches and fouling off like he did. So, I mean, there's ways to do this. And again, it wasn't even the loss yesterday. It really wasn't. It was looking at that box score at the end and the 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 4. And credit to, look, Manny Machado, if you're going to take a silver lining, 2 for 4 with a double. Love this for Manny if he's kind of feeling better now. And Mike Schultz said that he is and are looking better. And so that could be something that maybe this team needs, a little bit of a resurgence through that. But yeah, I mean, look, at the names of these players probably incite some pressure, but then you have to follow through with that
right
in your plate appearances.
And it's baseball. So we can't just be like, Well, you didn't get the hit today, Tatis. You sting, right?
No,
Right.
no, no.
Right.
100%.
No, and no
yeah.
one is saying that. No one
Right.
is saying, I'm just speaking in this broad sense. But we have a collective that collectively rises and falls and finds itself in valleys over and over again. And this is what these same players, with just a couple alterations on the side, these are what these same players did all last year. A huge game. And after the game, always a bold proclamation. Well, now we go forward. We're going to just keep seeing this over and over again. And the very next night, a vulnerable opponent, a ripe situation, and the game winds up being a complete flat bummer of a game.
And look, here's the good news. Are they on game 13 or 14? My goodness, I don't know.
They're
Okay,
now
whatever.
on
They're
game
14. 15, great.
today.
You are 15 games into the season. You are 2 weeks into a season. You still have time to turn this around. I know no one wants to hear me say that, but it's true. Okay, we all know it's true. They're obviously believing a message that has been spoken since spring training about who they want to be and who they're going to be this year. And so these are the moments where you got to look back at that game yesterday, or you got to look back at some games. And I realize that it's not as easy as we make it sound sitting here to always get a hit or always have production, right? Of course it's not. Like we just said, these are big league pitchers as well. But figuring it out how you're going to be, I guess, more threatening and apply more pressure and just give yourself a position to succeed more nights than not. And so if they're going to be this team that is dissimilar to last year, they've got to show that.
And they can't be saying, we can't be tipping our caps almost every night. And to be honest with you, I think it's difficult thing is an excuse, because the thing is this sport is difficult for everybody, and good teams find ways to overcome those difficulties. We all know it's hard to play Major League Baseball in the grand scheme of things, but I'm tired of hearing, it's so hard to hit in the big league. I understand that. That's why you're getting paid $30 million to hit in the big leagues.
Because you're better at that.
This is your job. You have to be good at your job. I'm tired of listening to, it's a good team over there. They got, it's all the cliches. I'm not just at Annie, but coming from the team's perspective, it's like, look, I hate bringing up the Dodgers. They have no problems beating teams. Zero. The Cubs went against the rookie pitcher last night. What did they do? When Kolek went out there.
Yeah, smash.
Destroyed the baseball. They're like, oh, yeah, let me own this guy. But the Padres go like, oh, it's hard to hit in the major leagues. I mean, I just think that mindset in general needs to be changed. We understand it's hard. Go figure it out. I mean, if you're going to be this team that says we're going to make the playoffs and everything, go do it. Go do it. I don't want to hear this like it's hard. Well, if that's the case, pack it up and we'll see you next year. I mean, if we're going to play the it's hard game. I understand it's hard. I can't do it. Me, you, and Craig cannot do that. That is an extremely high level baseball play to play at the major league level. And they are all incredible athletes. But I don't want to hear it's hard. It's difficult. I understand that. Teams that win overcome those obstacles.
And they're good, talented players.
They're all good.
Team.
They are all good.
If you're going to look and, these are good players. They can.
If any of those guys went to the Poway Sportsplex on Wednesday, they would be the greatest thing to ever live. They are so good.
You guys,
I don't need to hear it.
You can do it.
I don't need to hear it. Figure it out. You're getting paid to do a job. Go do your job. I don't want to hear it's hard anymore. I'm tired of that excuse. Well, that guy's a really good pitcher. I get that. Everybody's good.
Dad's in a bad mood.
Everybody's
Mom's here
good.
to console.
Everybody's good. Go play. I'm tired of hearing it. It gets to a point where it's like, all right, well, we're tipping our cap again and continue to drop in the standings. I mean, if it wasn't for the Padres, the Giants would be the Marlins right now.
Well, no, but that is look, the Giants are struggling. The Diamondbacks are struggling.
Yeah,
they're all struggling besides the Dodgers. So I guess that's also maybe your silver lining.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you need some tough love. It's time to go, boys. Let's put it together. Let's put some wins in a row. They're more than capable of doing it. I'm not sitting here saying they suck, but I'm tired of the whole it's difficult narrative. We get it. It's hard. You're doing a job that not a lot of people can do. That's why you are doing that job.
Got to do it better. You got to if you're gonna be somebody who thinks you're the best, you got to rise up to those situations.
They said all the right things in spring training, but during the and it's still I don't like doing the it's the early thing because Padres fans
not
got
that
duped
early.
last year. But
It's not that early.
no, I agree. But the thing is, it's like you could say all the right things, but now it's time to start doing all the right things. And I don't want to see the same thing each and every week. We've already seen it back-to-back weeks where they have a huge offensive day and then a major clunker.
Yeah, again, not two, they still don't have 2 wins in a row. But this is, if you're looking at the division right now, just take the Dodgers out of it right now. If you can, as Braden said, get it together, you can make some ground. Like if the Giants are struggling, if the Diamondbacks are struggling, if everyone's struggling, you can pull ahead a little bit.
You can, but
you got to do it, obviously.
And you don't get anything for finishing second place in the division. You got to have one of the best 3 non-division winning records in the league. So while we're competing for second place in the division, it's meaningless if you're 6-8 and in second place. What matters is who's in the 4, 5, 6 spot. Are there 3 teams in the National League with a better record than you? Because if there are, you're out of the playoffs. Right. Doesn't matter any spot other than first where you finish.
They're 2 games under, right? 2 games under 500. What did we say at the beginning of the season? We went through the schedule. You make it to the first month and a half around 500.
Around 500.
You're in a good spot.
Yes.
So like it's not like
absolutely
it's correct. We're not saying it's panic button time because it's not. And they're treading around the same pace that we thought they would be at. But you're starting to run into some situations where, we got Craig saying you got to win this game, and to be honest with you, he's right, and we're right. They gotta win today and win a series. I think it'd be a lot more calming, and it'd be nice to see them win a couple in a row.
Right now, there are 6 teams in the National League ahead of San Diego in the wild card standings. Peel off the first place teams, and Philadelphia, Washington, Milwaukee, Chicago, Cincinnati, and St. Louis all have better records than the Padres right now.
Wait, one more time.
Taking off the first place teams.
Right,
taking off the first place teams. Right now, Philadelphia, Washington, Milwaukee, Chicago, Cincinnati, and St. Louis all have better records than the Padres.
So that would mean, obviously, that if the season ended today.
Don't say that. Don't even start.
Which you love.
Don't even start because it doesn't end today. It does not end today.
Then the playoffs start tomorrow. I can't wait. Let's get ready for playoff baseball, everybody.
But yeah, your point stands. You've got to be able to be competing inside of the National League for one of these wild card spots if you're not taking that top spot in the division.
So it does lead you to today. And I just heard Ben say it, and I'll underline it. This game matters. Today matters. Like above and beyond the math. Okay. We can all agree that the team will either be 7-8 or 6-9 at the end of the day. And that is not a complete baseball record. That'll be their 1/10 poll, right? Almost, not even yet. That'll be their 15th game. So tomorrow will be, or Friday will be the 1/10 mark for the San Diego Padres.
Are they doing a press conference for that?
Well, they're not going to be putting up a flag. That's for sure. But one of the things, again, first segment theme is, are we in 2023 time warp, right? One of the things that killed us all about last season was moments like this early in the season. Like, hey, wait, this is a rubber game. This is a big game, and then, go out there, drop another one, another 3-2 loss today. We got that 1-0 lead and then couldn't hold it. 3-2 loss. And then they get on the bus and they go, it's early. It's no big deal. It's no big thing. You go up there, you run into this buzzsaw that's in Los Angeles, this grinding machine that's just spitting out arms and legs, grinding up teams. You come back home 6-12? Like, this city's going to start giving up on you, man. And you don't need that 18 games in.
And they were thinking that before they came back on Monday.
Maybe the Padres do what we've seen in the past where teams like this befuddle them, but then they go to LA, they sweep, they take 2 out of 3.
Sure.
When is the last time we took 2 out of 3 in LA?
Okay, Braden,
I'm just saying.
A million years ago.
I think the last time we
you
won.
were in high school, I think.
I think the last time we won a series in LA is when they took 3 out of 4 on the 4th of July holiday, when Denelse Lamet lost game 1 on the 3rd of July, and then they won 3 in a row. They got to the 500 mark, and we thought they were going to be contenders. I think that was 2019. Hunter Renfroe was still on the team. That might be the last time we won.
Where's Hunter Renfroe?
Craig-like memory. Where is Hunter Renfroe? Angels?
They might have won one other series after that, but it has been a long time since they won up there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, show urgency today.
Yeah.
Show urgency today. And when I say urgency, I don't mean gripping your bat so tight.
Yeah, don't psych yourself out.
Like, bring that mentality.
The
Bring that.
confidence.
Bring that. We're gonna all grind you to dust. And if you know what, if Hendricks, and of course, guess who we're facing? The perfect guy to screw you up when you are trying to be aggressive. Kyle Hendricks.
I'm tired of Jan Gomes, by the way.
14 career starts against the Padres, 8-3 with a 2.74 ERA.
Yeah.
Well, the Capistrano Valley.
And guess what his ERA
Doesn't
is
kill
against
you
the
with-
league right now?
Right. I don't know, but I'm sure it's higher.
It's big dot lots.
Is Jan Gomes catching him too?
Jan Gomes, 351 average against the Padres, 242 against the rest of the league. He has been killing the Padres.
That guy would be a Marlin if he wasn't for
Yeah.
the Padres.
Guess what Kyle Hendricks has done this year?
I mean, he doesn't have hard stuff. It's just that he nibbles away at you, right?
7 2/3 innings in 2 starts, which means he hasn't gotten out of the 4th in a start.
Okay.
17 hits allowed in 7 innings.
Who did they play? Does it say?
Well, I'll find it.
Okay. Well, so we're saying it can be done. You
10
can hit this
earned
guy.
runs. 10 earned runs
Was that
in
against the-
7
Was
innings.
that against the Dodgers?
3 homers, 4
I
walks,
think it
6
might have been.
Ks.
No, they just played.
He didn't play him twice. Like Kyle Hendricks has gotten smashed so far this season. And in fact, he played LA and he played Texas. 4 innings, 3 2/3 innings. 8 hits, 5 runs, 9 hits, 5 runs.
Okay, good
World Series
teams.
champion last
Yeah.
year. Team that is
So
expected
you-
to
what
win
are
World
we?
Series
He
all the
can be
time.
hit. So no, you're pointing out the evidence that Kyle Hendricks is not untouchable.
Let's get him. Let's
He-
get him.
He can
So
be
was
hit.
so was
yeah.
Benjamin Button last night.
Not
but-
tip our cap.
I'm
today.
tired of tipping caps. You know what? Tipping your cap is like taking a breakfast ball in golf. You got like one of those. You maybe 2 max. They've used their 2. We're done with the breakfast
more
balls and the
breakfast balls.
mulligans. No more.
That's right. Let's take a break. Got okay. All right.
I'm
That was
tired of Jan
actually a
Gomes.
very
Walk
not
'em.
convincing Kyle Hendricks argument. The Rangers, the Dodgers, they
You
hit
wanna
him.
be
They
great?
got to him.
Yeah.
So what are we? Right?
We're about to find out.
What are we? Are we the team that beats up Kyle Hendricks, or are we the team? Oh man, this guy's so tough. And then I hear every one of the analysts. Well, he's got the curveball and he's
Yeah.
got the sinker and he's got the
Well, his
changeup and
11 ERA says otherwise. Other
He-
teams were not
boy, he
phased
just-
by him.
he sure does keep you off balance with all of his tough stuff.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Unless you play somebody really good, and then he's not very good.
The good teams go, bring that 88 mile an hour cheese into the middle of the plate. I'm not fooled by your slider. I'm not fooled by your changeup. I'm going to spit on your curveball. What are you going to just throw me junk in the middle of the plate?
There should have been
No.
a fight at the bat rack last night against Benjamin. What's his name?
Ben Brown.
Ben Brown, the law firm that also
Yeah.
signed the Declaration of
Ben
Independence.
Brown felt as comfortable as if he was just hanging out at the Marriott getting a massage.
Guy was dealing with
Last
the
night.
lanterns for
He
Paul
couldn't even get
Revere.
the win. He did so well, and then they got pulled.
Yeah. Well, eventually you run out of time on the table.
No. I mean, I meant that in almost in
I know.
Ben Button's and Franklin's defense. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he, man.
Even he couldn't make it through
Yeah.
the 5th, and we couldn't touch him.
Guy was throwing tea into the Boston Harbor not too long ago. Just destroyed the Padres.
All right. Let's take a break. Eddie and Elsten, we'll set up the rest of the show when we come back on the Fan. 10:30 on the Fan. Welcome back. It's Annie and Elsten here with you. Gearing up for a big show today. Of course, at 11 a.m., we'll keep the Padres talk rolling with our deep dive segment. Something we've been meaning to get to for a couple, 3 shows now. We'll get to in the bottom of our second hour, which is maybe completely changing the college football landscape forever.
God, you thought I was passionate last segment. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
I got a whole
sit back
stack
on
of
that
quarters. We're just
Yeah.
going to feed into Braden and then watch him go.
If the NCAA was smart, they'd make me the commissioner of college football, and everything would be great.
It-
I have
be
I have
brilliant.
my own plan. I could even propose to you.
Holy
Oh,
cow.
wow.
it's great.
Wow.
Great and detailed. You know, some of us are passionate about what we do.
He's got his own plan.
Shots fired.
He's a man with a plan.
College football passion. It's great.
So we'll be doing that. We're going to do that too. 12 o'clock sports fix, of course, coming up. All the sports news that's fit to speak at 12 p.m. We play the match game today. Doesn't seem like as full an Odyssey building as normal this morning.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you guys see Adam? I thought Adam was back today.
I do not know.
You would have
Adam's
seen him if he
whereabouts.
was here.
Yeah.
I have not seen him today. We would have seen him.
Yeah, we would have seen him by now. So we'll figure it out. We'll knock the bushes around and see if anything falls out for match game hosts. No, wait, the host is here. For match game panelists.
Yeah, no Scraby today.
That's great. He mentioned because he's off at the Scrabinator Suite.
Scrabinator night.
Someone
Petco
please
Park.
send us pictures of whatever happens in the Scrabinator suite.
The
I mean,
Scrabinator.
I
the
want like a
Scrabinator
little
meetup.
like
Fourth
you know,
inning
like one of those
Scrabinator meetup.
babysitting cams, like those nanny
Uh-huh.
cams.
Nanny
I
cams,
want
yes.
to watch.
I fear it's just going to be a bunch of dudes talking.
It's probably gonna be it's gonna be great. And
Great
Scrabinator is
time.
gonna be a great host.
Scrabinator.
But I feel like for some reason people are gonna show up in like costume or something.
That's
I don't
right.
know.
I would like
it's
that.
like I'm getting the WWE reference with Scrabinator.
Yeah.
BYOF. Bring your own food.
Yes, indeed. Don't go there looking for a hot dog. All right.
No. Scraby's going to sneak into the press box and steal all the hot dogs at the
Hey
at the
guys,
2
comes
Good
in with an
idea.
armful. It's like, hey,
How many-
look what I got.
Because the lady's so nice that serves the hot dogs. How many would you like? Scraby's like 15.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Press box Bill is chasing him down down the terrace. Like, wait,
Hot
hang
Hot
on.
dogs. He's got a
Come
bunch
back.
of hot dogs in one arm, and then he's got all these nachos in the other arm. Oh man.
Point being, we'll find somebody, okay? We'll find somebody. Maybe Scrabe will join us from the ballpark. Maybe he'll dial in remote.
Probably not.
Probably not,
that'd
but
be
he
a lot to
mentioned it.
ask.
He did mention it when I asked.
That would
yesterday.
be a lot to ask him of him, I feel like.
If he's in the Scrabinator suite, it's not a lot to ask at all. Just like you're hanging out in a suite, an empty suite.
I don't know if it's good to have a game where we're dependent on other people. Like, aren't we enough, Craig?
We are enough. We can
Okay.
be enough. It's fun when we add the extra.
Fun when we have
flair.
people other than you two.
Yes. It's no, it's not that. Just it's fun to add more.
Okay.
The original show had 6 panelists. It's fun to have more.
We
More
we'll
chances to
grab
match.
who we find.
Yeah. Maybe is Dorothy Tran around? Can we
Yeah, that's right.
could grab Dorothy?
At Kixie.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
We'll switch. We'll have you go do her spot for 10 minutes. We'll go do some voice recordings for her.
Sure. I'm good at those. That's fine. So anyways, that's 12:40.
Little talent switch.
1 o'clock, first appearance on the show of Will Carroll, who is the author of the Under the Knife Substack, which has been around for years. I was trying to remember, Annie, the first time I met Will, first time I interacted with him, because I mean, whether it's NFL, NBA, MLB, he's one of like the nation's go-to resources for what is this injury? What does it mean? How does it happen, etc. So it occurred that Will would be a great guest, given that we just spent some time yesterday talking about, and everybody's talking about, what's going on with pitchers' injuries. MLB is pointing the finger at the Players Association pointing the finger at MLB. We heard Justin Verlander yesterday sound really smart and eloquent about what's going on. So get those ideas from Will, but he can also talk to us about like Manny Machado's elbow. What should our expectations be in terms of coming back from that? Joe Musgrove's shoulder. What should we be looking out for? So we'll hear from Will at 1 o'clock today. Looking forward to talking with Will Carroll.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. I always preface these kinds of conversations, as I'm sure we will when we get to them, that like we're obviously not the player's doctor. Will doesn't know exactly what's going on with any of them, but he can speak generally from a perspective of what he knows about these injuries or these kinds of injuries.
Correct. And then we'll wrap up the show with Ask Us Anything. So that's the setup for today's show. Should be a fun one as usual. I think we got a little bit of our venom out in the first segment.
Sometimes you just got to talk it out, you know?
Can you guys just win 2 games in a row? Can you take a series?
Yeah, we want to play the clip from Major League. That's called a winning streak.
Right. Like when you win and then you win again.
And then we won a game yesterday and another one today. If we win tomorrow, that's called a winning streak. Such a great clip.
Let's take a timeout. We'll come back and look at the other side of this when we continue. Annie and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball season is finally here. Yeah, don't tell us. We were looking forward to it for so long.
They're making baseball fun again.
You already know we're the official home of the Padres, so be sure to catch us all season long, wherever the season takes you with the Odyssey app. Listen to us react to the biggest moments from throughout the season. Plus, be sure to listen to live local play-by-play for every Padres game. Download the Odyssey app today and search 97.3 The Fan to get started. Local blackout restrictions do apply. Annie and Elsten here with you, where the game will start today with the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show at 2:40, 3:40, first pitch. Why? I just don't know why.
I still want someone to tell me that.
I just don't know why.
Annie, you got a copy in front of you. How many of those do we have?
I'm continuing to.
Oh, you put them away.
Yeah, no. I just, I'm gonna have to count and
I think we have like
reprinted
4 or 5.
Annie's
340
schedule.
today. We have a 340
You got a couple in September.
in May. Oh no, that's not even here. That's in Cincinnati. See, this is not a good game for me because we have a couple in
You lose.
in July, August. I don't know.
So all the
there's
time.
at least one a month. I'll tell you that.
You got one in, you got the Twins, you got the Mariners, and you got the Astros, are all three that end on a 3:40 Wednesday.
What a weird time.
I understand the Mariners one
Weird.
because it's a 2-game series. One of those quick 2 here, and then they got 2 up in Seattle on
Yeah.
a different day. So that one's a getaway day.
Sure,
3:40.
because then they can get into their hotels before midnight that night. But
Right. Remember, we have a curfew here, flying curfew.
3:40. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. If it was at 1:10,
Semantics.
be in the middle of the day. If it was at 6:40 or 5:40, people could go see it. 3:40, you either have to take time off work, get off work early,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I guess I could go pick up the kid, drop him off, and then try and scramble down to the ballpark today. It's not impossible.
My parents are going. You have a
Are
good
they?
time. Yeah.
All right.
They're using the season
A
tickets.
couple soccers are taking my tickets and going.
Oh,
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, they should
Yeah.
deserve a day in
Yeah.
the sun.
Getting their mind read.
In my
for
seats, you
Chihuahua.
will be in the sun. So hope you enjoy it.
Maybe it's because the sun will be less. You think this is all a sun issue for the summer months?
I
or-
don't. That's a good question
don't
too. But
know.
I feel
I
like
don't
no.
think
I
it
feel
is.
like you're starting in shadows.
Because then the Sundays would also be
oh, that's
yeah.
going to be the excuse today, guys. When we get
The
shoved
shadows.
by
You know
Kyle
what, though?
Hendricks and his 17 hits allowed in 7 innings, they're going to say, "Oh, well,
Well,
the
the-
shadows
The
with
tower
his
suites.
with his sinker, slider, curveball, changeup stuff. We just couldn't see it in the heavy
The
shadows."
shadows do make a difference.
In
The
the
shadows can be tough.
They sure can. Meanwhile, maybe but Dylan Cease's 98-mile-an-hour fastball gets hit. The shadows were less. In that
Don't put
moment.
this on, we're not putting that on Dylan Cease.
No. Well, he's going to have one fastball hit today to the shortstop on
There
two
you go.
two
There you go.
hops.
This is
Bum, bum, bum.
Is he gonna field it or no?
No
We're-
manifesting. Yes, please. Ha-Sung. How many? That's like 3, 4 that Ha-Sung's missed so far this year at short.
The one last night was odd. It worked out perfectly in his favor.
Yeah.
He booted the ball so bad it went right to Bogarts at second base.
Do you think there's any chance that he's feeling it a little bit so far this season?
Oh, I totally think
I
so.
think
Also,
so,
it's your
too.
free agent year. It's your
for
walk
him.
year.
Big year for
And
him.
sometimes that can also have some pressure. Sometimes, again, with the Padres, not knowing, are you staying? Are you going? And even Korea, I thought Korea was great for Ha-Sung Kim, but he probably got pulled the most directions,
Mhm.
had the most put on his plate, had to be the ultimate host for everyone and show why the Korea where he grew up is a wonderful place to showcase baseball. That could have had an impact on him as well.
Yeah, it's something I'm really kind of thinking about a little bit because the team didn't just make a switch taking a veteran off a position that he'd played for, a long time.
Oh, you're talking defensively.
I'm talking all the way around.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking all the way
Yeah.
around. Like it started with that, right? And we
Yeah.
all said, well, this is the right decision because Ha-Sung's the better player.
Right.
Well, then you have to go play better in order to still be the better player. You can't just, right? We can't just say it. You got to do it. And so far, he's actually been, I love Ha-Sung Kim more than any other team. If you haven't listened to a lot of the shows, I have his jersey. I love him. He's literally my favorite player on the entire team. If you had to do a really harsh clinical grade right now and go every player, how have you done defensively so far this year? I'd actually say he's done the worst.
It's been a little befuddling, some of the things that he's missed, because he's usually so hyper focused defensively, especially, and nothing really gets past him a whole lot. And so that's been an interesting thing. Maybe it does. Maybe that switch so abruptly, I guess, in spring training, even though they had some time to work on it, it wasn't a ton of time to maybe wrap your head around some of it. He obviously knows how to play the position.
Sure.
There's no question about that. But sometimes mentally things are weird. Like things can have an effect. And I still kind of, and again, I realize I don't love second guessing decisions, because I feel like we don't know everything. I know we don't know everything. We do not know everything that the Padres know, but it does make me wonder a little bit, would they have been better served putting Ha-Seong Kim at third while Manny's rehabbing, keeping Xander where he is, putting Jake at second, and putting a serviceable first baseman over at first? And I mean, I think Jake would have been great no matter what. So yeah, I don't know.
Hey, I don't want, you tune in, you tune out to the radio, you hear a little bit, you go, oh, well, this guy was on the radio saying this or that. Like, this guy's on the radio saying Ha-Seong Kim's our worst defensive player. No, of course not. I would make the same move today, knowing that he's missed 4 or 5 plays this year. If you say, well, what's the right thing to do going forward? Put Kim at shortstop, because he's our best defensive player. And he just needs to play that way. That's the whole thing. Like, you can't take every game and go, well, this proves that this guy can or cannot do that. Otherwise, we could just take Monday's game for the Padres. Look, they scored 9 runs. So that's what they should do. Now we're super mad. They only got 1. Like, baseball is ridiculous. Every single thing, you get into the minutia of it. But the trends, as Annie says very well, the trends, those are the things you're looking at. And the trend I'm looking at with Ha-Seong is this kind of like trifecta. You said one perfectly. Being the host at the start of the year, having all of that. That's the kind of thing that takes away from your preparation, your focus, takes away from just your ability to relax, get into your groove, right? As a human being.
And it could have been wonderful. I'm not even saying like it was a negative thing. It's just a different, it's like you just said, routine. It's a different way of starting the year. It's a different whole aspect to everything than just a normal. And then granted, the Padres haven't had a normal spring training in a long time, but it does. I mean, the person that was affected by that the most was Ha-Seong Kim, no doubt about it.
And to go from that to also, and listen, now this is a quickly eroding hill that I continue to try and find purchase on for my feet as I try and hang on to this hill. But he was our leadoff hitter last year. He did a great job as the leadoff hitter until September, when, yes, Ha-Seong Kim slumped in the month of September. There's no question about it, whether he wore down, wore out, whatever. That was what the offseason mantra was that he kind of wore down, which is why he worked on building up strength.
He talked about it.
Right? Building up endurance. I don't know if he went to just stand up all day like Noah Shanuel, but like he's supposed to have his legs underneath him for a really strong season this year, but then he's in the middle of the lineup trying to drive in all of these superstars in Manny and Toddy and everyone else, and it didn't work out. Now he's been dropped 1 spot in the lineup, had 1 hit last night, nothing. He's making some mistakes at shortstop, and I do think it's fair just to say we love this kid. We believe in him. We think he's going to be great. We would do nothing to take him out of the lineup or do anything else, but it's quite possible that he's feeling it a little bit right now.
And it's definitely true. And I think anybody listening would agree. Ha-Seong Kim has not had the start to the season that Ha-Seong Kim would want. There's obviously some pressing going on at the plate. And no, Craig and I are not saying at all that like Ha-Seong Kim doesn't know how to play defense, or that, I mean, he hasn't lost his ability to play defense. He's just been having maybe like a tick of focus is probably just, needing to catch up a little bit. And that's not anything that he can't do or that won't come for him in some time here, and that he knows that has been different for him. So this guy's an elite defensive player. He still is an elite defensive player. But yeah, figuring some things out for him, I think, is going to be key to this Padres season.
I'd like to see it. I'd still like to see something different in the 5 spot. I would. And it's not a diss on Jurickson Profar, who has played very, very well this season offensively. He is getting on base. He's doing about as well as you could possibly ask Jurickson Profar to do at the start of a season. in his best day, in his best way, he doesn't profile as a 5-hitter. He is a grindy at bat guy. He's not RBI hits. He's not lace power. He doesn't have that. He's not a big hitter. His career average is pretty low. It's down in the 230s, I believe. So once again, I'd like to see Xander, who's a hitter. He's a professional hitter. This is a guy supposed to hit 300, 285, 290, 35 doubles, 20 home runs, drive the ball. I want that to add up to 90, 100 RBI for Xander Bogaerts. Last year, I admit, he was in RBI positions. He didn't get to 60 last year. It was a terrible year for Xander Bogaerts, but you don't throw that out. I'd feel more comfortable as a fan seeing Xander in an RBI position in the lineup. I feel like I trust him as a hitter more than I do Ha-Sung or Jurickson to drive in runs in critical 2-out situations.
If Xander Bogaerts was not hitting behind Juan Soto last year, he probably would have had more RBIs.
Because
Juan
kept
Soto's
walking in for a double play.
Juan still had way more RBIs than Xander did. I mean,
that's true.
Most of the guys in front of Xander were knocking in the runs before Xander did. So it's not Xander's fault if nobody's on base when he comes up.
Well, he also hit terribly with RISP, and he grounded into like 20 double plays.
I'm just saying, but I mean, RBIs are an arbitrary stat because you cannot control them. You cannot control RBIs because you cannot control who's going to be on in front of you. And if they go 1, 2, 3, and Xander's the cleanup guy and he's batting with nobody on base, that's not his fault if he's not hitting RBI. So I'm agreeing with you. Put him in the 4 spot. I think last year's RBI stat is an anomaly for that guy.
Okay.
Because there's other factors. I mean, RBIs evolve with multiple factors than just can he drive in runs. If there's nobody on base, he can't drive any runs.
Well, there's that. Now we're both just staring at you.
No, I
Is that dumb? I mean, that's a pretty smart statement right there. It's
right.
arbitrary. It's an arbitrary stat. I mean, with batting average going out the door, to me, RBIs means nothing because you cannot control RBIs.
No, of course
it's out
not.
of your control.
I understand. But I do. Okay, here's the thing. RBI used to be what everyone got paid for in baseball, right? Like when I was younger, when I was even in college or, young adult in this industry, people got paid for driving in 115 runs. It was like you'd hear people say that. Hey, I get paid to drive.
No, I agree.
Right.
Well, and I haven't looked at too deep, but like they were bad at runners in scoring position last year. So
Horrible.
whenever there was someone on base, I don't know who. I'm sure it was. Obviously it was different. There was a number of players you can point to for that. But
Soto was the best
Right.
for our team with runners in scoring position
Right.
last year. Basically, everyone was really bad as the year went along. Nonetheless, I'm just looking at like, where do players profile to succeed?
my thing is with Jurickson is he's at least getting on base and he's hitting. Like, okay, so say you want to move him
A little bit further
further
down.
in the
Or
order.
back to 6.
Okay, back to 6. So who you're putting Xander at 5th?
Right now, I'd put if I was putting Kim lead off, I would do that. I would put Xander 5th. If we're not putting Kim lead off, I want to put Campusano 5th. Another guy who can drive in runs with hits.
It's not like I'm against it. It's just, to me, I'm like, these guys got to they just got to start hitting. Like, they just start hitting. Like, I don't know, wherever you are in the lineup, whatever's happening, whatever's going on, hit.
Yeah.
Get on base.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say about RBI in the last minute is it went from being everyone gets paid for it to it's completely irrelevant. Like with analytics, everyone was like, now there's several writers I could talk to that if I even say RBI, they're like, who cares? Meaningless. And Braden was not saying meaningless, but he's like, it's basically a team function. And in many ways it is. It's illustrative when you're in one spot all year. Like if you're in the middle of a good lineup all year, but you only drive in 50 runs, that's not a good sign for how you succeeded as a player in that season. You could have if you've got 3 good guys in front of you and then you're batting, you should be driving in 100 runs, just stumbling into it with groundouts and flyouts even. So that's all. RBI is now so underrated. It's so they think it's so overrated. It's almost underrated.
I'm gonna simplify it. Just hit and get on base.
Just hit and get on base.
Up and down the lineup.
Just hit and get on base.
Hit and get on base.
Please. More today than yesterday.
Whatever spot you're in.
All right. That's the offense for you.
We haven't talked pitching yet.
Pitching.
Guess we saved that for the 11 a.m. segment. Here it comes. Padres Deep Dive continues. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Back with you for hour number 2 of the program. Welcome back. Annie Heilbrunn, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprenet. We are the Annie and Elsten program, a multimedia operation courtesy of the Odyssey Corporation, coming your way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are live on 97.3 FM. Hello to everybody listening to us in your car or somewhere else on FM radio. You're holding your radio in your hand. I'm impressed. If you are just listening on your phone, that doesn't count. You're listening on an app. Hopefully it's the Odyssey app.
Or doing it Craig style, boombox on the shoulder.
Hey, exactly.
Don't tempt me with
do
a
the
good
right
time.
thing. Yeah. I'm in. I'm Radio Raheem. I'll be right there.
Radio Raheem.
So if you're doing that, awesome. If you're listening on the Odyssey app, we appreciate you. If you're listening to us in the future, as we are a podcast, an hourly podcast, in addition, show gets chopped up for you into neat, digestible segments. Hello to you from the past into the future. And we are also, in case you didn't know, we are a YouTube show. We are a live video program as well. You can see us. You can see the videos that we play or the different graphics that we talk about along the way. All you have to do is go to YouTube, check out the 97.3 The Fan page, click subscribe. I mean, you don't have to do that to watch the show. You could just click on the window and watch the show. But why not click subscribe? That way you'll be alerted to future shows. And of course, Ben and Woods is on there. We're on there. Gwen and Chris. No Scrapes today. He's going to be in the Scrabinator suite this evening, but he's usually there from 6 to 7 as well. And on Sundays from 8 to 10, Braden Soprenit's there with the Braden Soprenit show.
That's right.
That's right.
It's perfect now for baseball season.
It is perfect.
React to Saturday, get into Sunday. So it's like a extra post and pre on top of it.
I love it.
It's way better than, oh my God, the national noise.
Yeah. Oh.
When I come in here like on Sunday mornings, I'm just sitting there going like, people listen to this?
I know. Braden, can I tell you, I think the exact same thing.
It has no impact.
I think
What
the
they talk
exact
about
same
has
thing.
no impact on San Diego whatsoever. It's just kind of like, what are we talking about here? What is going on?
Aaron Rodgers and his legacy.
Oh my God.
It's just okay. Give it to me. So 11 a.m. hour, we like to talk some Padres. If you missed the first hour, I think the first 22 minutes of the show could be best described as a venting session for all three of us, expressing our frustration at what we saw last night when, coming on the heels of the most exciting momentum building win of the year, the momentum didn't exist at all. 5-1, the Padres lost. They fell behind 5-0. So they did get one part of the script right, Annie. They fell behind again. Maybe they took the wrong message from Monday's game. The key is to fall hopelessly behind and then come ahead. This team needs to get its grind on. Today's a big game. Club's going to play LA for 3 at Dodger Stadium this weekend. We looked it up over the break. They face Yamamoto on Friday. They face Gavin Stone on Saturday and James Paxton on Sunday. So while you will miss Glasnow, you don't miss Yamamoto. Of course, the first time they faced Yamamoto, they didn't miss. 1 inning, 5 runs. They tattooed that kid. But since then, 2 shutout outings, and I'm sure he's probably figured something out.
He talked. I remember reading some articles where he talked about that Korea outing and just the nerves and what was going wrong for him in that. And then he put that one behind him, and he's been real good ever since.
Very well. So we're not looking ahead yet. We've got tomorrow's roundtable to do that. We've got all of tomorrow and Friday's show to do that. We're focused on this game against the Cubbies this afternoon because I think it's a much-win game. I think it's a much-win game, Annie.
It's a much-win game. Yeah, your chance to take the series, your chance to go into an off day, knowing that you did just that. You won 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. And then heading into Los Angeles, obviously knowing it's going to be a challenge, but feeling good about that.
Yeah. And if you missed it last week, Annie coined one of our few, but now growing, Annie and Elsten phrases.
It's not a must win. It's a much win.
It's a much win. It'd be much appreciated if you won this game.
It's
there's much at stake.
There's emphasis.
This is an inflection point. That'd be another way to put it. This is an inflection point. Either you win a series against a potential playoff team and head into LA with an off day, chance to reset the pitching staff. Like you can go full on today in terms of aggressive usage because it's been back end guys yesterday, day off tomorrow, should be able to go full bore today to try and take down the Cubbies. And if you do that, you've won a series, you feel good, you're heading to LA, you've got a little something, what little wind in your sails. And if you don't, we're now what? We're up to 5 series, no wins.
And for the Padres, the best thing for them, don't look ahead. They're going to start getting questions about the Dodgers. That's always how it goes. Don't look ahead. Just focus on today. Focus on your game, this game, and play the style of baseball that the Padres want to play. That's really going to be the biggest thing for them. And I know it's so cliche, but for them staying within themselves, really only running the race against themselves. And I think that's, again, very, very, very cliche, but it's true in baseball because there's just so many ways you can get ahead of yourself, and it's a long season and you got to kind of stay within yourself.
To me, the Padres have something to prove to all of us because we had to accept the entire year last year, the narrative that this actually was a very good team that could play the best level baseball, the most high quality level baseball that could get you to a National League pennant and a World Series, and that they just weren't doing it, that it just didn't work out. This happened, that happened, another thing happened, and then there was this, and then there was that, and Preller and Melvin were fighting, and someone else's belt buckle didn't work. How unfortunate, 82-80. Well, but we're back now and we're ready to do more. Well, you're 6-8. At some point, you got to win games to be a good team.
But they're not. It's not like they're 1 and whatever. Like
no,
they're
6-8.
They're 6-8. They're still around that 500 mark. They can easily, get to around that 500 mark if they win a few games. And I was just going to say if they win a few games and not lose a few games.
Well, that'd be nice because that's what they do. Is they win a few and then they lose a few.
But no, it's again, it's not panic time. It's just I think there's so much. Tony calls it PTSD, and I get it. From last year, you have to find this middle ground of it's not panic time, but you do want to erase the taste of last year. However, there's still baseball-y things happening. You're in 2 weeks of your season. Right. You as much as no one wants to say it's early, and these games obviously matter. As a player, you've got to keep yourself. If you go jump off the cliff right now, if you're like, oh my God, I am hitting 176 and I don't have any home runs yet and whatever, okay, well, what's going to happen for the rest of the year? It's not going to help you.
Right.
So you've got to maintain some sense of calm. And that's what the players have to do.
Correct. In the media, we have to talk about it for 4 hours. So it's impossible just to spend 4 hours saying, be calm, don't, it's okay, it's all right.
Be calm and carry on.
Yeah, because then, you're just all going to tune out and go listen to a song or something. I understand. You got to understand, we got to create the content, the sweet, sweet content for all of you. And for me, where that boils down to as a fan is, the big broad proclamations are very difficult. Xander Bogaerts isn't hitting very well right now. Neither is Manny Machado. You've paid those guys the 2 most of anyone on the team. So do you need them to perform? Of course you do. If they don't perform, is it bad? Of course it is. But what else are you going to say? You're going to start him. I'm tinkering with where I think Xander could maybe make the most impact with his hits. Is it leadoff? Is it? But we're still rearranging deck chairs. What we can focus on are little things that the team can do better that might leach an extra win or two out of the sauce this season, because that extra win or two is going to be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs this year. I am convinced of that. We are not outside the margin of error in terms of being a quality team. We are a team that's going to need to maximize what we get out of this unit in order to make it to the playoffs, to get to 85, 86, the numbers that we've been talking about as end of season win totals. So are we where we need to be in this bullpen right now? And that's, we talked all offense in the first hour. I think it's time to start to turn our wicked gaze over to the pitching staff.
I will entertain the bullpen. I am a little more wanting to talk about the starting pitching. Yeah. I'm confused there a little bit. I have ultimate respect, as we all do, for you, Darvish, and Joe Musgrove. What you saw last week in terms of this rotation, just absolutely shutting the door for opposing teams, giving the bullpen, not having to come in until the 6th, 7th, 8th inning, that sort of thing. So, I find it a little interesting that you, Darvish, struggled, then Joe Musgrove struggled, and I don't, this isn't indicative of the rest of the year, but for them, I know that that's what they would want more for themselves, and that's kind of where you look at the strength of this team is the starting rotation, and the starting rotation being solid. They're not going to be perfect. They are not going to be perfect, but you want to see that consistency, just like you want to see with the offense. You want to see the starting rotation get into a consistent rhythm too. And so it's a little bit like the offense.
It is
a good, a kind of okay middling turn through the rotation, then a really great turn through the rotation, now a shaky turn through the rotation. Obviously, we'll see how Dylan Cease and Michael King and Matt Waldron do, but you also want to see some consistency there.
You do. And when I was watching last night's game, which of course was an exercise in frustration for all of us as Padres fans, I thought it hurt Joe that he had to hold the line at 0 with the team putting up zeros against a rookie starter.
Totally. Well, I think yes, the offense needs to perform.
I always love it when I get like a big positive.
Well,
when I know when we actually linked up on something, I like that.
It is difficult for me to sit here and say, well, Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish, like more times than not, these guys are giving their team a chance to win. And even yesterday, I understand why they pulled him for Kolek. And Joe said after the game, he felt he had the stuff for Kolek. And I mean, for
Morel.
Yeah, for Morel, and that who is the one that hit the grand slam. And it's great when a starting pitcher says that. Joe's a competitor. He wanted to stay in the game. Part of me was like, leave Joe in, because Joe's so experienced. He's a veteran guy. He's crafty. He's worked out of so many jams, but I get why they did what they did. But the offense does. The offense needs to be performing to where you can overcome, or at least get close to overcoming, whatever kind of deficit that you're in.
Yeah. Every game has its own shape, right? And it's revealed over the course of the game. I really felt like yesterday's game was shaped immediately when Joe came out, put up a scoreless top of the first, went out against a rookie starter. Your leadoff man gets a double. Next guy gets hard contact to center field. And the end result of that double plus hard contact to center field was 2 outs, nobody on base. And it's boop, boop, instant confidence reset for old Benjamin Brown, the oldest pitcher in the history of humanity, the revolutionary leader who helped folks get across the Potomac, Benjamin Brown. Second inning, leadoff guy gets on, double play, kills that momentum after Joe's gone back out there and put up a second 0. So on that level, we are completely in synchronous. And on the level of the decision point in the top of the 5th inning. Okay, so the inning starts 0-0. You're into the 5th. And this is where I really was like, I got to admit, I was like, uh-oh, at home, because 4 innings, you've almost gone through the lineup twice, and you've held them out so far, but you don't have a lead. At what point is the Cub going to, rise up and get salty and put you behind? Well, of course, that player was Yan Gomes, who I think if you want to develop a list of why A.J. Preller should be fired, number 1 on the list is he's never went and signed Yan Gomes to be on our team so that he can't hit against us, because this guy is hitting .351 against us. He leads all players in baseball. He is the player in baseball that hits the best against the San Diego Padres. And sure enough, first pitch curveball last night in the 5th, and he parks it in the bullpen. He didn't just beat it out. He crushes the ball out. Chases Joe a little bit off the plate. He gets the bases loaded. And now I'm right there with you, Annie, because let me just say this. Take the name away. Take away all that stuff, just go by data, and you say, well, a starter with a 6.87 ERA and a whip of 175, who's now loaded the bases in the 5th and is facing an order the 3rd time through, get him the heck out of there. There's no reason. He should have been out after 2 turns through the order. In fact, I saw in our hot tub Discord, somebody, Rafi, was like, well, this is the 3rd time through penalty. You're viewing it in real time, the 3rd time through penalty. Well, Musgrove is supposed to be able to pitch over that. Like, he's one of our guys that we don't put that filter on. And here's where I'm going to come back to you. It's Joe Musgrove. Yes, 6'8", yes, 175. But when your alternative is a kid out of the minors, out of the minor leagues, that we're protecting using a quirky rule to keep him on the big league roster, how is that a strategic upgrade to go from Musgrove to Stephen Kolek?
And the thought process from the Padres coaches, or from Mike Schilt, was that Kolek is a ground ball pitcher. And so get him out there induced that ground ball. But he couldn't throw a sinker. He tried the sweeper. It didn't sweep. Morel took it for the grand slam. And, Joe said afterward, look, I feel like I had stuff where I knew how to attack Morel. I knew how to get out of that. And he would have liked to stay in the game. And again, that's what you want your pitcher to say, of course, because that means he's competing. I understand the move, but at the same time, I'm with you that sometimes, the veteran thing, maybe he could have limited the damage. Maybe Joe, and again, would it have mattered? Probably not, because the Padres offense couldn't get the runs on the board, but you never know. Maybe that is the kind of emotional turn that you need.
Right.
And it's so hard to second guess these, because look, the coaches and the Mike Shildt, and they know different things than us. They're seeing what Mike Shildt called bigger misses. The misses are getting bigger coming from Joe Musgrove. And so as he sees that grow, he goes, time to pull him, or they decide as a staff or whatever. But there was a part of me that wanted to see Joe, because we know Joe, and Joe can work out of jams, and Joe does work out of jams. And his stuff was, it was getting shaky there, but it's still Joe Musgrove.
He's 27 years old, Stephen Kolek. And listen, I don't think any of us were out there in the offseason, really digging in on the Rule 5 draft. Usually AJ takes somebody because, he's wild like that, right? He's probably seen Stephen Kolek on his best day on a minor league game that he was at, that nobody else was at, because that's AJ Preller. He's everywhere. Like he's probably spotted something along the way. I'm sure he has. Ruben Niebla sees something he likes. Mike Shildt sees something he likes in Stephen Kolek. That's cool. Okay, great. That's fine. But what I need to know for sure is, does this team pitch Stephen Kolek in the highest leverage situation, bases loaded, big time power hitter Morel at the plate, 30+ homer power type guy at the plate? Do they pitch him because they truly believe this is the right pitcher in this organization for this spot? Or is he in the bullpen because he's Rule 5, he must be protected, if we expose him, he'll go back to Seattle, we're afraid of losing a guy, and so we've got Kolek, and once you have him, you have to use him, and so now we found a spot for him? I need to know it's the former and not the latter, or else I have to be here on the radio saying, send him back to Seattle. I want a guy with strikeout stuff there.
Kolek has good stuff, but they threw him in, like you said, in a very high level. I mean, that was the highest leverage situation of his entire career.
Right.
And that could be part of it. And I know no one wants to hear that necessarily, but there is we got to test these guys out. We need to put these guys in certain positions. And because these are your guys, you have to sort of know what you have. You have to understand what's in your bullpen. And then I just don't know who else I agree with you about Estrada. You can maybe move someone and bring up Jeremiah Estrada. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, these are your guys. You got to ride with them at some point. I don't know that last night, again, I will maintain I would have rather seen Joe finish it out. But I just don't know in general, maybe, holding on to Kolek because who else do they get?
Well, that's it. I mean, you've got Alec Jacob down there. You've got Estrada. You've got Randy Vasquez. There are arms in the organization that you can utilize, and you traded assets to get someone like Vasquez. You've drafted Jacob. Jeremiah Estrada was a waiver wire pickup, but I sometimes I'm not being explicit here. I'm just saying sometimes I feel that AJ overvalues holding as opposed to maybe, let's not dream on what he might be. Let's look at what he is. Because I think we kind of did the same thing with Brent Honeywell last year for a long time.
It could also be like kind of delaying the inevitable, because I think that, he'll part with him, but I think there's also probably, they know a little bit more about, like, maybe they don't trust some of those guys down there to come up and do anything better right now. Maybe those guys need a little bit more work, maybe something, and so you're trying to maybe squeeze the most juice you can out of someone before the inevitable happens and they're packing their bags, and if you get rid of all those bullets right now, what are you going to do when you hit May or June if you're still kind of going through these problems? So, it's interesting. I mean, bullpens are always very finicky and very vulnerable and things like that. But we've seen some good stuff out of this bullpen, and then putting Kolek again in a very high leverage situation yesterday. I mean, that was interesting.
I just want to give you the information. I don't think that we've all looked at Stephen Kolek very much. So here's just the very basic information on Stephen Kolek. Stephen Kolek has thrown 435 innings in the minor leagues in his career. 435.
Okay.
So plenty. He's not a young player. He's 27 years old, right? 435 innings in the minor leagues. His career minor league ERA is 4.5, 4.52. His career minor league WHIP, walks plus hits divided by innings pitched, is 1.36, which is not dominant by any means. And his career hits allowed per 9, 8.6, is a career walk per 9, 3.7, very high, close to Blake Snell territory. Career strikeouts, 8.7, less than a strikeout per inning. Now, in the major leagues so far, ERA 5.8, WHIP 1.3, hits allowed 8.2, walks allowed 3.5. So he's pitching the same in the bigs that he pitched in the minors, which is what you'd expect, right? And when you're 27 years old, but what he pitched in the minors wasn't like some great thing that everyone would covet and want to hold in their team. So all I'm saying, this is a marginal pitcher, and we don't need to be precious with marginal assets. We need to maximize what we get out of our marginal assets in order to squeeze a win or two out of this team that we otherwise wouldn't. And as such, I question the decision to keep Stephen Kolek on the team. Not that he might not turn it around, maybe, but the reality of what he's been and what he is, and it looking the same, why are we expecting it to be better?
I do not know. But I just, again,
walked
there's
you into a rhetorical
I
corner.
don't know. Right. I don't know exactly what to say back to that. But, again, it's tough when you don't have all the information, and there's a reason that the Padres pitching staff is making these decisions or holding on to these guys for AJ Preller. It might end up being that by the time next week rolls around, we're looking at some new faces in this bullpen.
I think so too. And I'm just, that's all I'm saying. Let's just not be precious with it. Like, oh my God, what if we lose Pedro Avila? Well, then you're going to make Johnny Brito throw more innings. And maybe long inning mop up is his role.
But maybe it's not.
Okay. But it's certainly not high leverage.
But so then what happens? So then who do you use high leverage?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Well,
is it Estrada? Is it De Los Santos? Obviously, we need to use him more. Oh God, Rich McGuire just brought up another one. Brian Mitchell. Like every once in a while, AJ gets in the habit of getting precious with somebody that he believes in the stuff over the results. I just don't want that to be the case with this kid because we can't afford a whole lot of vanity appearance of, well, we think it's going to be, and it might be, but it's not. And that's that. Big game today. Go win. Sharpen our mood. Go win today.
Save your jobs, bullpen relievers. Save them from Craig.
But I'm not. Come on. Save them from any realistic evaluator. I'm just trying to. I don't think in Cincinnati they're going like, oh, well, we got to keep Stephen Kolek. I mean, I don't think the Yankees are thinking that way. I don't think the Dodgers are thinking that way.
Stephen Kolek's got a lot of potential, but I agree with Craig. This is a team that can afford to just have him on their team right now. He's a future luxury that they currently cannot afford.
And he's 27, so it's not like
it's not even like he's like 22.
Right. Like, well, he's got such a bright future ahead of him. This might be it. Who knows? Go get a win today. Score a couple runs in the first inning. See how it does you. see how you like the fit. You might find it something that you really, really enjoy.
Good game plan.
All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, a little more Padres. Plus, we're going to get into the attempt to completely remake college football. Let's just turn it into something completely different. See how this works. We'll dig into that when we come back. You got a stack of quarters ready to pop into Braden?
Braden doesn't need them. He's ready to go.
Fair enough. I think so. He's already fully charged.
He's ready to go. Unplug it from the wall and let it run. All right.
Especially with college football.
That's next on The Fan. 11:31 on the Fan. I think we've pretty much exhausted our Padres deep dive for today. And he has delivered the very simple, straightforward message.
Hit the ball, get on base.
Hit the ball and get on base.
And
You
we'll
can
get a
do it.
lineup at some point, so then we can
You
get
could
back
do it,
in.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different on days when it's 3:40 start.
It's Higgy Day today, right? I mean, you've got to expect Higashioka would start
think so.
today.
I would say so.
Campy get a DH roll? Man, he just got 2 hits. Want to keep him rolling, I'm guessing. So, yeah, that means it's Campy or Higgy. Can't go double, even though you do have Brett Sullivan now. You do have that opportunity.
Maybe today they're just going to hit shuffle, and you're just going to have a bunch of guys in random spots.
He just puts names in a hat and then throws the hat against the wall.
That's right.
And then
or
whatever's
he-
closest to the wall bats first.
He does it like Sunday softball style. First guy to show up gets the leadoff spot. Whoever's the first guy at the yard.
Oh, no. Higashioka showed up first.
Hey, buddy, it's you.
Guess what? You're leading off against Hendricks. For all we know, that would work. I'm all in favor of any alternate strategy today against Kyle Hendricks. And this is one of those guys that just drives you up a wall. He drives you up a wall because you look at him and you go, he should get clobbered. He's throwing 87. He's doing the same tricks he did in 2015. Like literally 2015. Remember when he was pitching for the Cubs in the World Series? It's a long time ago. Like, how is he getting?
Yeah.
It's that Aaron Paul breaking. He keeps getting away with it. Like, it's so frustrating to
He's
see
got the
this.
Padres number. I mean, he's been good against the Padres.
Been dominant against the San Diego Padres. And every time it's the same thing. Drops that pitch in for us. We're like, we're going to be patient. Strike one. Okay, well, now we're going to get aggressive. Thinker, wrap it to shortstop. And then next thing you know, you look up and it's 8 pitches and he got out of the inning and then he's in the 4th with 34 pitches. And you're like, oh, I guess we're never going to solve Kyle Hendricks. But he's got an 11.7 ERA so
He
far
is
this year.
solvable. Today could be the day.
Today should be the day to just at some point when someone's 8-3 against you for his career with a 2-something ERA, isn't he due to just get smashed by San
They know what
Diego?
they're seeing with him. So maybe the 340 start is exactly what the Padres need. As much as we're like, oh, 340, maybe this is perfect for them. Little brunch, little wake up, get going, not having to get up super early. Like maybe they're going to be like, you know what? I feel good today.
We haven't talked about Dylan Cease. Maybe today's the day that Dylan Cease gets to shove. I'm worried about the shadows with Kyle Hendricks. How about the shadows with an electric 98-mile-an-hour fastball and one of the most wicked sliders in the game? Let's see how that works for you Cubbies. Make sure Young Gomes just stays at the hotel or maybe moves ahead to the next opponent. Let's see if Dylan Cease can put his foot down because you said it. A medium turn through the rotation, a good turn through the rotation, and quite frankly, this has been so far 2 of 5, a bad turn through the rotation. That's got to stop right now.
Good chance for him to just do that. Put the stop in it, kind of change things around, mix it up, and then obviously an off day before Michael King pitches against the Dodgers, but still, you want to show that, like you want to be able to have that strength in your rotation.
And then you've got the chance for Michael to build off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Waldron pitched great the last time. I know everyone's like, oh my God, Matt Waldron at Dodger Stadium, we're doomed. I'm not saying I don't feel that way, but you got to be hopeful. He's pitched pretty well his last 7+ innings out there. Let's get it going today. All right. I'm going to take a timeout right now and make this the short segment so that we can give Braden the room to expand on a 70-team unconferenced. It would be the end of conferences.
Well, they would just be called divisions.
Right.
They would essentially be the same thing.
Wait, I feel so. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you need to break this down for all of us, but especially me. We're going to one huge conference. It's almost like the leagues, like the NFL or MLB or.
Well, instead, it's football's breaking away from the rest of college athletics and making college football its own entity. Where like college football would be like the NFL, like underneath the shield, and then inside of that there will be conferences, which will be labeled divisions, but it would
Would they
basically be the
make
same
more
thing.
sense, those conferences? Like,
Let's figure it out in a minute.
I mean, but it's
oh, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we
My
got to take a
bad.
break
It's like
first.
putting a commissioner in charge of just football. Is basically what they're doing.
Super duper league, and hopefully Braden will be that commissioner. We're going to take a step in
Yeah,
that
you can
direction
explain it. Yeah.
when we come back. Andy and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:42. Let's dig in. Annie and Elsten here with you, working our way toward the 12 o'clock sports fix. We'll also have match game coming up just about 12:40 today. Scraby has officially sent his regrets. Said he could not link up because he's going to be down in the clubhouse. He's grinding.
With the Scrabinators.
He had
Yes.
to turn people away from this, and I love it.
It's great.
It is. It's awesome. And he wrote this like rejection email that's like the nicest email you've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah,
You've seen
it's
it?
like yes, and he did it. It's like and it's like, hey, you know, the suite is full, but we're gonna do it again. Hang tight. But it's very nicely written, just like Scraby is a nice guy. Okay. And so I love it. Love this for him.
Tremendous.
Yeah. Braden,
Good for
you're
you,
gonna
Scrabes.
have to do one too.
When's the Annie and Elsten sweet night?
I know we're all gonna have to jump on the
That's what I'm
piggyback
saying.
of Matt Scraby and the Scrabinator night.
We got to sell it though, so
I mean,
we
he's
can.
got a 1 hour
cater
show.
it.
We've got a 4 hour show.
That's
yeah.
true.
When's Annie and Elsten night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam. Yeah.
When's Craig gonna cater it for us?
Wait a second.
Hang on, what?
Pause.
It's the Annie and Elsten
Pause.
show, so Annie and Elsten have to cater the
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
the
I
deal.
mean, I guess I could buy a couple beers.
Mrs. Musgrove brings in home cooked Italian to their
Now,
suite.
home
there you
cooked.
go.
Now you're talking. If we could
invite
know.
invite Joe Musgrove's family.
Joe
some
Musgrove.
baked good from Zanny.
She brings like baked ziti and all this other stuff, and then she
should
trades
have, like,
with.
a little stand.
Oh yeah,
I would personally purchase dinner
their
down
suite.
there at the ballpark. I know many fans would.
Their suite's next to you suite, and so they do some trading with the home
Oh,
cooked food that they
wow.
bring in.
Brady,
Smart,
Look at you.
smart. I like it.
Elisa got the sad email. Oh, man.
Aw.
Thought you'd be a number one pick, Elisa. You would be the first person in our suite.
Well, I don't think it was that
Elisa.
he like picked people over people. It was
Are you
like
sure?
I think he did. I think he hand.
think he
Elisa,
did.
I think
Grape's
he
all
said
about the
no.
conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I
Why
think
don't we
he
just throw
handpicked
some
it.
his way?
Rigged. It was rigged. Whole thing was rigged. Elisa got hosed.
Oh,
Take it up with Scraby.
You'd be number one in our suite, Elisa.
I
Right.
did meet
First person in.
Jocelyn yesterday at the
Nice.
ballpark. Yeah, wonderfully sweet.
Go
Isn't
States.
she great?
And she was there with her son. They
Yep.
were on the field for some like kind of batting practice.
Oh yeah, the
autograph
batting
thing.
practice thing.
Yeah, but
Go
yes,
Bobcats.
It's great to see her. Meet her.
Yeah,
State
I
too.
met her at not this past soccer's match, but the previous one, where she went out, and I think her husband was also the military honoree
Nice.
of the match.
Really
She's got
cool.
me mixed up with Callan McClurg, though, our PA guy.
Callan.
She thinks I'm doing PA at the game, and I understand it because his voice is not dissimilar to mine. But if you know it, it's obviously not the same. But
She
Yeah,
probably
she-
gets good because you do the wave.
I think so. I think that's
probably what it
exactly
is.
it. I think that's exactly it. So it was one of those moments. Like she turned to her son and she's like, "He's the one that you hear that says that this," and I was, "Am I going to just correct you right now on the promenade, or am I going to be like, cool, enjoy the match,
What did you do?
cool, enjoy the
Okay,
match?"
that's what I would have done too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Well, actually,
I don't say this. I say this.
All right,
Her kid's like, uh-huh.
I'm not
okay.
gonna punt all of Braden's time. I
No.
promise you,
Ah,
Braden.
punt. See what you did there?
Yes.
College football.
Because I think both Annie and I are genuinely curious as to what this radical reconfiguration. For the very first question I want to ask you is this actually going to happen, or are we just
It's a proposal.
okay? Is there a rendering?
No, there's no rent. Well, yeah, College Football Reddit. Jake Waters' boys at College
The
Football
best.
Reddit. He is part of that crew. They assembled the Super League based on the description of what has been proposed. But article in the Athletic came out last week. Inside College Football Super League, one powerful group's idea to fix a dead system. It was an article written by Andrew Marchand and Stuart Mandel, who both cover college football and college athletics for the Athletic. It was very interesting to see the proposal that has been floated around to people throughout college athletics, including conferences. This is the general synopsis. One league overseeing college football's highest level, no more conferences as we've known them. Playoff berths being decided solely on the field, promotion and regulation for smaller schools, players being paid directly, NIL and transfer portal all managed. Several college presidents, Roger Goodell's primary lieutenant at the NFL, and some of the sport's top executives have devised a plan dubbed by outsiders as a super league to completely transform college football. Those involved in the group are called College Sports Tomorrow, CST for short. Although the plan has drawn skepticism from within the sport's current institutions, the people behind the ideas believe they must be implemented. So that's the general synopsis of what's going on behind the scenes. Here is the plan. The current CST, College Sports Tomorrow, outline would create a system that would have the top 70 programs, all members of the 5 former major conferences, plus Notre Dame and new ACC member SMU.
SMU?
They just joined the ACC.
Well, lucky duckies just got in time, huh?
Yeah, they got a lot of money. So there you go.
Okay.
As permanent members and encompass all 130 plus FBS universities. So all of the universities that are currently in D1 football will be a part of this in some form.
Okay, so hold on, just quick pause to make sure I understand. So the top 5 conferences plus Notre Dame and SMU, how many teams does that add up to?
That equals 70 programs.
That's 70 there.
Correct.
Okay, and then other teams could get up into or down out of the Super League?
Yeah, so those 70 programs that we just listed. So everybody in the ACC, everybody in the Big 12, everybody in the Big 10, everybody in the Pac-12 that is now
including everyone who's relocated here, there, and everywhere?
Yeah, including Washington State and Oregon State. All of those teams plus Notre Dame and SMU would be included in the 70 teams that are unable to be promoted or relegated.
Right.
So they're locked in to the league.
Doesn't matter. You could stink. You could lose
every
game every
They're
year.
going to be locked in because we got to take care of those people.
Sure. Of course.
Yeah. Right. This is, you see where it's going.
Yeah.
And then there's 10 other teams that would be derived of the group of 5 schools that would be the teams that would be up with the 8. So there'd be an 80 team league essentially.
Okay.
Broken into 8 10-team divisions.
Okay.
7 of those divisions would never change. And one of those divisions would drop 5 and add 5 from the lower 30 teams that are left, 50 teams that are left.
Okay.
So in essence, like if you look at our sheet, it would be devised as such. Like you get a lot of the former conferences that used to be around, and then you'd have like the best group of 5 division. So obviously, if you're like San Diego State, you'd be in the 50 group, which means you'd have to play your way up into the 80 group, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how they would construct it. Now, this is how they would do. They would go the 50 plus second division teams would have the opportunity to compete their way into the upper division, creating a promotion system similar to the structure in European soccer. 70 permanent teams.
Similar.
Right. The playoffs would not require a selection committee, as the 8 division winners and the 8 wild cards from the top tier would go to the postseason. Wild card spots would be determined by record and tiebreakers, much like the NFL. So essentially, all of the haves are guaranteed a spot in this league. They can never be demoted. All of the have-nots, like San Diego State being included, would have to continually be good in order to compete at this level, and the teams that are not would be in the tier below everybody else. Essentially is how they would set it up. And then everything there from there on out is no longer like voting, no polls. It's all about
just winning,
wins and losses.
Win your division,
you're in.
Probably the 6 top wild cards.
Yeah,
and
so
you have a 16-team playoff.
8 champions, 8 wild cards, 16-team playoff. Let's go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay.
So that's how they would do it.
8 divisions. For some reason, I was thinking 10 divisions.
No,
8 divisions of 10.
Divisions of 10. Correct.
8 winners, 8 second place teams.
Or
go forward.
3 or 4 from one. You know how that's going to work.
Right.
Right. So you would have 8 wild card, 8 division winners. You make the playoffs, you go 16-team playoff. And then everything's accounted for. No politics behind the scenes. And then a rating system would determine the best group of 5. And then you'd have to play your way into that if you're one of the group of 5 schools. So as it would be assembled, as Jake Waters and company has so kindly put it together for us, so I didn't have to figure it out myself. On our sheet, we have it. The Pac-10, Craig, would be like the old school Pac-10.
Okay.
You would have
now I'm interested.
Both Arizona schools, Stanford and Oregon, or Stanford and Cal, Oregon State, USC, UCLA, Washington State. You'd have a hodgepodge Big 12. The Southwest Conference would be back, which would be awesome. Big 10, ACC, Big East, SEC, and then the group of 5 group. So then you would have all of your divisions. They'd all be regional. You would have these crazy cross-country trips. Everything schedule would be built out like the NFL, and then you could run everything from an entity of where the league, players have their players union, I'm sure they'd have a draft. I'm sure there'd be trades. I'm sure there's all that stuff. But essentially, the group is like, we can make a lot of money on this. And if the players want to be pros, here you go. You're a pro now.
Yeah.
What are the problems?
Oh, there's major problems,
Okay.
obviously.
Plenty of problems.
I mean, like, you'd
I
have
just
to
thought it
do
would.
a
I just thought it would
draft.
make the conference thing easier, like the scheduling or like something. But it sounds like there's just it's way more complicated than that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. I think the scheduling and everything is legit. I think separating college football from all the other schools would be
Yeah.
great or all the other teams, because then all the other teams can go more regional, which I'd be in favor for. Here's what JD Wicker said.
Yeah, this is relevant.
Interesting concept, though. Relegation only for the non-power schools is a non-starter. I agree with that. Just because you have more money doesn't mean you're better.
Totally.
Let the results on the field decide it. And I totally agree, but it's like the guys calling the shots are the schools, that never want to be sent down. It's like, well, we're Northwestern. We've always been great, instead of them being held accountable for actually winning. Like Vanderbilt has no business being in the SEC, but they're grandfathered in, so they get all the benefits, where there's other schools that didn't get the invite that are on the outside looking in. Personally, to me, this is how I would do it. I'm not going to, I would do, like, as a compromise, do 12 divisions of 10 and split each division into 2 groups of 5. And if you win that, you play the other champion of the other 5 in your league in a championship game, play 12 games, 13th week, the top team from each little group of 5 play each other, then the 2s play each other, the 3s play each other, and the 4s for seeding purposes. And then you can rotate your schedule NFL style. So you're going to play the team that finished in your spot the year before to build in for your non-conference games. And then everything's all built and great. But the problem is the big guys don't like giving the little guys money. So that's the conflict. But to me, that would be the biggest compromise, 12 divisions of 10.
Setting aside how this bears literally no resemblance to student athletics and the thoughts of college that we've entertained for 100 billion years, where this completely falls apart for me is promotion relegation for thee, but not for me.
I agree.
I think that's ludicrous. And furthermore, what those big, I know why. Fear. It's completely fear.
100%.
It's fear of being bad. It's fear of not getting a cushion for doing a bad job at what you do.
Fear of losing your paycheck.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But by counter, if everyone would agree to accept the risk, the concept of what this is describing, but in every single division, the last 2 teams, 9 and 10, are going to play a stay-in game at the end of the year where the winner stays in and the loser drops out. And then you've got a play-up game. If you're going to have a first tier and a second tier, whoever wins that goes up. Now we're talking.
I agree.
Kentucky has a bad year, they're down. Or UCLA has a bad year, they're down. And then they got to fight their way back up because what makes it so special in soccer, and it's insulting when they just go, oh, it's like soccer. What makes it special in soccer is Man United could go down.
Right.
Like they never will, but they could.
You get that small town team that played their way into the Champions League or whatever, right?
Right.
But I totally agree. And then you can regionalize, you can make everything regional. So, if you get the jump to the pack, you're in the pack, right? Or like the Mountain West will be the second tier division.
Right.
And if you win, you're in the pack. And then you have the best 10 teams out West playing in the same conference.
100%.
And that would make it that would make it way more entertaining, way more fun, way more eyeballs.
Good.
And you know what? They could probably work out a model where they can all get paid.
Absolutely.
They can all get paid. It probably would do better than what they're doing right now. And
It would do
very
better.
popular. Could you imagine San Diego State playing a home game here against, some top echelon team on their schedule?
Well, imagine how excited we'd be when the Aztecs were 8-1 because they had a chance to be promoted, not a chance to go play the Potato Bowl against Air Force.
I like the concept. The execution right now.
Send it to the suggestion box.
12 o'clock Sports Fix next on The Fan. 12 o'clock Wednesday. We have reached the official halfway point. Over here,
I'm
Cameron.
saying double.
Come
What's
here.
going on?
Come over here, Cameron. We have reached the official halfway point of our work week. We are thrilled, and we hope you are as well. Welcome to the Hump Hour on Hump Day. It is Andy and Elsten, hour number 3 of the program. We're your new local midday hang on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. And it is time to fill your ears with all the news that's fit to speak. Time for the mic to be on. Time for local, regional, and national sports news. But we start here in America's finest city, and he's got the Padres beat.
All right, looking around Major League Baseball first, MLB's top prospects set to make his debut with the Orioles calling up Jackson Holliday. Holliday was the #1 overall pick in 2022. He reaches the majors after just a year and a half in the minors. He is the son of 7-time All-Star Matt Holliday. Padres fans are familiar. And like Jackson Merrill, Holliday is 20 years old. Left-hander Julio Urias has been charged with 5 misdemeanors by the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office per the LA Times. This was after he was arrested in early September of last year following an altercation that happened after an MLS game. The charges for him include 1 count of spousal battery, 2 counts of domestic battery involving dating relationship, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 1 count of assault. There is an arraignment scheduled for May 2nd. All right, let's take a look at games currently in action. The Dodgers are losing to the Twins in Minnesota 3-2 in the 7th. Philadelphia and St. Louis tied at 2 in the 5th inning. And last night, the Diamondbacks beat the Rockies 3-2 in Colorado. The Giants lost again to Washington. And by the way, the Giants were down 2 runs in the 9th. They loaded the bases with no outs, couldn't bring anyone home. Their offense has been mostly anemic. Bob Melvin is already answering questions in post-game pressers that are so similar to the questions and answers that he got last year in San Diego. And I mean, yeah, not good for them. The Padres lost to the Giants. No, they didn't lose to the Giants. The Padres lost to the Cubs.
We did it 4 times, but not yesterday.
Their only wins of the year.
They lost to the Cubs 5-1 last night. In today's rubber match, it will be Dylan Cease on the mound for San Diego, Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. Game time, 3:40 p.m. at Petco Park.
Over to Braden for the big news that broke in college basketball right in front of the final.
Yeah, big news. John Calipari officially was named the head coach of the Arkansas men's basketball program, and the Hall of Famer will be making less with the Razorbacks than he did at Kentucky. Calipari, who's 65 years old, signed a 5-year contract starting at $7 million per season, less than the $8.5 he was making with the Kentucky Wildcats. The deal announced Wednesday includes a $1 million signing bonus and $500,000 retention bonuses each year of the contract, plus incentives for making the NCAA tournament and advancing deep into the tournament. There will also be 2 automatic rollover years for NCAA tournament appearances that would extend the deal to 2031. By all accounts, John Calipari is one of the premier coaches in college basketball, according to athletic director Hunter Yurachek, national championship coach, a 4-time national coach of the year, and one of the nation's top recruiters. Coach Cal has consistently demonstrated his ability to attract outstanding talent and build championship teams within the Southeastern Conference and position his programs among the best in the nation. Calipari replaces Eric Musselman, who left last week to take over for USC because Andy Enfield went to SMU. So SMU put a little bit of a stir to lead to Kentucky losing their head coach. Kentucky has reached out to Scott Drew of Baylor. That is the first phone call they have made, but we'll see where that progresses in the future. Arkansas got their guy. It is John Calipari. He'll be making less than he did at Kentucky, Craig.
Well, what can you do about that? What have you done for me lately, John Calipari? I've got your arena report. San Diego Gulls are in the final 7 games of their season. 6 will be on the road, including a 5-game road trip, which starts tonight. The Gulls are in Bakersfield to take on the Condors, who are very much more invested in this game than San Diego will be. Bakersfield's in a pack of 6 teams, all within 5 points of one another in between 2nd and 7th place in the Pacific Division. I looked this up this morning. I was just like, holy cow. I'm not following the AHL race, but that's a race. That's 6 teams all within 2 games of each other between 2nd and 7th place. Face off at 6:30 p.m. tonight. The Pro Volleyball Federation announced their championship structure for their inaugural season. The top 4 in the 7-team league will head to Omaha for a Final Four format the second weekend in May. The San Diego Mojo are currently at the halfway point of their schedule. They are 5-7, and they're currently 5th in the league, but 1 game out of 4th, which means they're 1 game out of getting into that playoff tournament. They host the Atlanta Vibe tonight at Viejas Arena at 7 p.m. The Vibe are the best team in the Pro Volleyball Federation. They are 13-4 and in first place. This is the 4th time, and thankfully the last time, that the Mojo have to play Atlanta this season. They have gone 0-3 and 0-3 in each of those games, straight sets. So hopefully they turn that around against Atlanta this evening. But even if they don't have to play them anymore the rest of the year. Back to Annie for exciting races in the NBA and NHL.
I feel like you should be doing these. These are your exciting.
Well, I know, but I can't do 2 things in a row.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'll do it for now. But I feel like it's taking away your thunder. All right, the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Boston Celtics last night, 104-91, maintaining their hold on the 2nd seed in the East. That's the good news. However, superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo, did I get that one right?
Giannis
Antetokounmpo.
Say that 5 times fast.
Went down with a non-contact injury that had everyone worried about an Achilles tear. That's the bad news. But the diagnosis is a calf strain and not an Achilles problem. So while Giannis may miss 2 weeks, he is not expected to be out for the season. Woo! In the West, the top 3 seeds all held serve last night with Denver, Minnesota, and Oklahoma City all winning. The Clippers and Mavs both clinched at least top 6 seeds to stay out of the play-in, while New Orleans won and moved up to 6th, dropping Phoenix into the play-in, now in the 7th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, 6-7 flip-flopped.
Okay. They flip-flopped.
Yep.
The Lakers lost to the Warriors, which keeps them in 9th, a half game behind Sacramento, while Golden State moves within 1 game of LA. And in the NHL, history was made last night in Detroit as the Washington Capitals beat the Red Wings on the road 2-1. Alex Ovechkin scored his 30th goal of the season. He is the first player in NHL history to score 30 or more goals in 18 seasons. The Caps moved into playoff position with the win, and Austin Matthews notched his 66th goal of the season, one step closer to becoming the 9th NHL player with a 70-goal season. The Leafs beat the Devils 5-2. The Islanders beat the Rangers 4-2. And the Ducks skated past the Kings, no pun intended, 3-1. 3 games tonight, headlined by Las Vegas at Edmonton.
I think you did a great job.
Would Giannis agree?
Giannis would agree.
Giannis is very nice.
He's extremely polite. He is such a nice guy.
Mr.
Antetokounmpo.
You know, if I had to say it every night, I would practice that so bad. You would never hear me slip on that.
Antetokounmpo. It's hard. It's because you want to put a second N there. You want to go Antetokounmpo, but it's Antetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo.
On to the next thing.
On to college baseball.
San Diego State lost 6-3 last night to Long Beach State in a non-conference game Tuesday at Tony Gwynn Stadium, trailing 4-0. San Diego State did narrow the gap with 3 runs in the 6th, sparked by Colby Turner's RBI single, which plated Sean Montoya, while Irvin Weems scored on a double play ground to second. Turner then raced home on a wild pitch, trimming the margin to 4-3. However, the Dirtbags plated 2 runs in the top of the 9th to put the game out of reach. San Diego State will take on UCSD tonight at Triton Ballpark, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time. With the loss, Aztecs now 9-22 on the season. Speaking of the Tritons, they played the Toreros last night at Triton Ballpark.
Let's go Tritons.
San Diego, strong performance on the mound from starter Ryan Kaiser. He backed a pair of impressive efforts out of the Torero bullpen, pushed San Diego past UC San Diego into their 10th straight victory, longest win streak in nearly 16 years, with a 7-1 victory over the Tritons in a midweek non-conference matchup at Triton Ballpark. Torero struck first in the 2nd inning, but could not claim a lead larger than 1 until the 8th, In the late game rally led by RBI singles from Jacob Christian, Will Worthington, and Angelo Peraza gave them a 6-run advantage, which was enough cushion for Ivan Romero and Tristan LeMaison, who was able to pitch for the first time in over a year. So congrats to Tristan for being back on the mound. For USD, pair of scoreless innings. USD's current 10-game win streak is the Toreros' longest since they recorded a program record 16 in a row from April 4th to April 27th. Back in 2008, USD will be off until this weekend, taking on the undefeated in West Coast Conference play Portland Pilots. The Pilots and San Diego will play this weekend in Oregon. That will be it for college baseball. As for high school baseball, had some interesting games and results last night. 2 top teams in the county. Carlsbad knocked off number 1 Torrey Pines 2-1. Granite Hills over Steel Canyon 11-0. La Jolla Country Day and Bishops ended in a 10-10 tie. Del Norte beat San Marcos 3-0. They've been on a little bit of a tear. Helix beat Santana out in East County 7-3. And Mission Vista beats El Camino 6-4, with RB beating LCC 6-3. That's a look at some high school baseball scores as well.
All right, and we'll wrap things up with the Stadium Report and the 2024 She Believes Cup Finals in Columbus. Very similar script for the United States and Canada, if you happen to watch them play at Snapdragon Stadium last month. Now, there was no torrential downpour. There was no puddle-filled field. Just the game flow was the same. The U.S. had a 2-1 lead late in the second half. Canada gets a stunning equalizer to draw the match even. Then they go to penalties. And then Alyssa Nair beats Kaylin Sheridan in the penalty kick shootout, 4-2 in the shootout. United States over Canada, the 7th She Believes Cup for the United States in 9 years of running the tournament. At the Masters today, it's the par 3 tournament. It's all the pageantry, pageantry. I think I just turned that into a new word, pageantry.
Analytical. Analytically?
Algorithmy things. Algorithmy things.
Baseball things.
Tomorrow, the Masters begins, and I don't care about the par 3 tournament. So that's it for the 12 o'clock Sports Fix today.
You don't want to put that on TV? Is it over?
I mean, I don't even know. It matters that little to me. I don't know if it's over or not. The par 3 tournament. Who cares? Can't wait for tomorrow. Here's one thing that was interesting out of the Masters. The chairman of Augusta National says, which is a Fred Ridley.
Hello, Fred.
Fred Widley. White guy Fred. He says that there'd be some fundamental difficulties in hosting a professional women's tournament at Augusta National.
What are the difficulties?
Yeah, what makes it more difficult?
Said it would be very difficult. There'd be some difficulties. Now, Augusta, just to be clear, before I completely dump on Augusta National, which is an easy thing to do and something I enjoy and have enjoyed my entire adult life, Augusta did just hold a national women's amateur tournament last weekend. So
women can be on the ground.
They're allowed. They're allowed.
They're allowed
certain
to
circumstances.
golf even, and not even spectators. Like, do the spectators have to be male, or
no? You can be
you
a
can
woman.
be a woman and be allowed to be in. Okay.
I mean,
there's no way that would be around anymore.
Although, if there was one place that could,
though.
it would be Augusta National. If there's one place that could, it would be Augusta National. Fred Ridley says that for starters, the Augusta National Women's Amateur and Drive Chip and Putt Championship just fit really well into the flow of Masters Week. And adding another event would be challenging because the club has a very short season. They close for the summer in the 3rd week of May. They said the course, it's too easy in the fall, apparently, because the COVID year, Dustin Johnson hit 20 under, so can't do that. So it's just a very limited amount of time. And then this is the part that made me bring it up on the show. He said there are other considerations beyond just the scheduling. He said, quote, "We need to make sure that we really respect the mystique and magic of the Masters. We would have to think long and hard to have another golf tournament because they have to respect the mystique and magic of the Masters."
Sounds like BS, Fred. Sounds like you don't want women playing your little tournament.
Tiger also respects mystique and magic. Tipped them both well along the way.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Low
What
blow.
did you just say?
Brady just caught
That
that.
went over my head.
Those would be two
What?
Two
Don't
classic
explain it. Don't
names.
We
explain it. Don't
just dunked on
explain it. Don't
Tiger.
explain it.
We are not dunking on Tiger.
He dunked on
I
him.
mean,
Let's not dunk on
he
Tiger.
cooked him right there. That was a.
I thought that was fairly clever.
Yeah, it was very, very clever.
Tiger's playing, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He actually says he might win, which is cool. If he did, the world would
Explode.
like, just start spinning twice as fast. It would be wild. No, because he can't, like, Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer of the 20th century, there's no question about it, is so injured now that, how injured is he? He's so injured now that he can't walk 4 rounds. Like, the real question is, when will he withdraw from the Masters this weekend?
Yeah, if he finishes, you can count as a win, to be honest with you.
I agree with that.
Well, I heard Ben also talking about the weather is going to be a factor and the wind and the rain, and he's got to play through all that, right? So,
yeah,
that's going to be rough.
But back to Fred Ridley. Sorry,
Fred,
Tiger.
you
Sorry,
stink.
sorry, Tiger, for catching a stray there.
Yeah.
That was a major stray.
It's just like turning the other way,
stray.
lining up the scope, and
Major, yeah. Hey, let me drag this guy down real quick.
Elisa said, "I understood that reference." Thank you, Elisa.
Thank you,
you and
Elisa.
Captain America in the Avengers.
That's
You
right.
both understood that reference.
Braden, do I want him to repeat it? Because I
No,
missed it.
no,
Okay, then never mind.
We'll tell you about it later.
All right.
Yeah, this is excuse making by a group that is exclusively old white men to keep their old white man happy place.
Whose tournament, I keep calling it that, it's called the Masters.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Masters.
Yeah. Okay.
It took me becoming a person who plays golf. I do not want to go as far as to say a golfer.
Yeah, what was your handicap again?
24.5. Thank you.
Doesn't count.
It took me becoming a person who plays golf and therefore truly enjoys watching the top golfers to even watch the Masters. I went most of my life not watching the Masters and just basically skipping this week because it's so stuck in backwards regressive behavior.
In 1990, TV executive Ron Townsend became the first Black member admitted to Augusta National. 15 years after, Lee Elder had become the first Black golfer to compete at the Masters. So it was a long time before even Black people were allowed to be part of the little fraternity that is the Masters. I
think they still don't have any female members.
Okay.
But they may have one. Maybe I read it back. Ben will tell me if he's listening.
It's got kind of an ugly past, if you ask me.
There's a lot of like super rich people that can't get into that place either. I mean, it's a very exclusive club, as you could tell.
Actually, Fred Ridley says we have a number of women members, and we have for quite a few years, but they don't say who. But that's okay. No, but Annika Sorenstam joined in 2023, and when she did, they said, "Well, no, it's not just Annika Sorenstam. We've got others." And of course, they're not going to tell you who they are. But yeah. Condoleezza Rice apparently is also a member. So if like you're one and Peter Uberoth's wife or widow. So if like you're extremely famous or then maybe. But the idea of a tournament, oh, God forbid. God forbid. We have to the mystique and the magic. We have to preserve the mystique and the magic.
I can understand that from a sense of not hosting another men's tournament.
Right.
But like why don't you just have the women's version of the Masters? I feel like most of the PGA courses should be on the LPGA tour too.
Yes.
Because we don't have like Torrey Pines isn't on the LPGA tour. They play at La Costa.
I would love to see an LPGA tournament at the Masters.
It'd be great.
But they're just not going to do it because they need to preserve the mystique, which by saying that, it really is saying you would ruin the mystique.
Yeah.
If you
we
showed
have
up.
a level of
They had a women's version at a different time of the year.
where you would ruin the mystique. Stay at home, cook dinner, be ready for all that.
Ruin the mystique. The mystique of what exactly?
I mean,
wow, I just went down a little rabbit hole on the Masters, and I don't know how I know this is a vaunted. This is the turn.
It really is. This is the tournament.
But I'm a little blown away by how
ancient.
rooted in ugliness.
Deep
this
South.
continues to be.
Yes.
Like this is just okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, people make it okay. I really feel like golf just collectively kind of goes, no, this is fine for 4 days. And look at the azaleas. Look at Amen Corner. And
look at the food, right? The
right.
food's still the same price.
Food is $1.50, and you can put down your lawn chair, and no one will move it the entire day. And all of these things. Oh, our quaint Southern traditions that we keep with the mystique and magic of the Masters. But the U.S. Open is the toughest challenge in golf. And the British Open is an incredibly difficult challenge in golf. The PGA Championship, these are all incredible tournaments. What's different now, Annie, is that because of the PGA Tour Live split, the Masters is the first tournament in the calendar year where those great players play together in the same tournament.
That'll be exciting.
It's one of the only ones. And of course, if you're not in the PGA, you're not going to play in the PGA Championship. So you won't see a Brooks Koepka, John Rahm, Dustin Johnson, Cameron Smith, all these stars that went to live. Even Lefty, right? Like you don't see them on any of these great PGA, but you can see them in open events like the US and British Open, and you can see them at the Masters. So that's the addition to it. Like I really want to watch because I want to see how John Rahm competes back, back in the field. But personally, I have to hold my nose, and I do not embrace the glory of the, a tradition unlike any other.
He could have totally given like a way better answer of why
the
they
mystique
didn't have it.
That didn't do it for you, Braden.
No, he could have been literally like, logistically, it doesn't make any sense. We have to get the course ready for this one, and we don't. This course is unable to have multiple tournament. I mean, there's so many ways that you could have been like, all right, I understand.
They could also do it if they really wanted to. I mean, I don't.
No, I agree, but I'm just, he could have made that answer way better than his mystique thing. The mystique thing makes it sound like, we don't like women here. That's basically what it makes it sound like, when he could have been way more politically correct and been like, look, we with all the everything we have to pump into this tournament, we can't possibly host more than one at this place. And then you can list the BS of when the place is closed. And that I think most people would have accepted that, but he had to use mystique. And then it's like, okay, dude.
Well, we got a quickie segment next before the match game where I think, what are we going to give our dinner menus now that we've completely torn down Augusta National?
That's right.
Whoops. Oh, Craig thought he was going to turn it a little golfy and then we could do the fun segment. And instead, now we all hate Augusta.
We hate the Masters, but if we were to win, this is what I'd have at the dinner. At my dinner, I would love to have made by the executive chefs at Augusta.
I mean, I would. We'll do that. And then we got match game coming up. So stay right here. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. 12:29. Match games coming up. But first, this is something we thought would be fun well before we decided to. I brought up the fact that there will be no women's LPGA tournament at the Masters, and then we all went down the rabbit hole and remembered the things that make us slightly uncomfortable about the Masters. Nonetheless, as I told Braden yesterday, it will be on the big screen up here tomorrow because I am very interested in the golf. No question I'm interested in the golf. And one of the traditions, unlike any other, is that tonight is the Masters dinner. Tonight is the night that they have the champions dinner where all the champions come together wearing their green coats. There's probably only like 2 times you wear your green coat. Like,
I love green. I would want to,
100%.
wear a green
You'd
coat.
want to win the Masters.
Yeah.
Not just for the prestige and the outstanding
I'd want it for the
golf
outfit.
excellence. Right. You'd get a green jacket. You'd be like, this matches my entire ensemble. But the champion has the honor and the privilege and the duty of setting the dinner menu for the champions dinner that year. Now, this was famously brought to light when Tiger Woods won the first time and Fuzzy Zeller. And if you remember all that, then you remember your old problematic Masters dinner, champions dinner golf history. But Braden had a good idea yesterday, which was, well, if we were going to set the menu, what would the menu be? And what do you need to have, Braden? What are our requirements?
I need an appetizer. I need a first course,
Okay.
a main course, a side, and a dessert.
Main course.
First course.
First course.
That's like a soup or a salad.
Oh, okay.
That's what they have on here. Most it's like 50-50 whether or not they do a soup or a salad.
Side, dessert. Okay. That's not as much as they had in the tweet you sent us.
No, that was like picking somebody's deal.
Yeah, picking
I'd rather
somebody's
have
deal.
you make your own.
Okay. All right. Who's ready?
I'm ready.
Annie's ready
Annie's
to go.
ready.
Okay. For my appetizer, I will have a charcuterie board.
Okay.
Or it will be like a mini, I don't know if it comes to the table, so it's like a mini version of it. It's got some crudité, dips,
I think they're like finger
crackers,
foods.
cheeses.
Yeah,
You
little
can
mini
go get it.
things.
All
Okay.
right.
There's the Masters music in the background.
Thank
for
you so much.
For your executive dinner.
For my first course, I will have a Southwest salad.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like that. I like a
It'll have-
Southwest salad.
Right. Romaine, tomatoes, some black beans, corn, tortilla strips, lime. Okay. We good?
We good.
We good, fam? Okay. My main course, I'm going to have gourmet tacos. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm going to let the chefs just go at it. Like
Okay.
gourmet tacos, some avocado, things like that. Am I just
keep
okay.
going.
Okay,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
sides.
I'm hungry.
I don't know how many sides do I get, but I'm going to pick one is sweet potato fries.
You get 2.
Okay, one
Oh,
is
look at you.
sweet
Sweet
potato,
potato
fries,
fries.
and the other is what is that? I already have enough vegetables. Well, sweet potato fries and give me another side,
Mashed potato.
No.
Yeah, it's double potato. Mac
How
and
about
cheese.
the Brussels
Okay.
sprouts?
We'll do-
Asparagus.
Delicious Brussels sprouts.
We'll do mac and cheese for those who might
I
want
like that.
a little pasta
I
in
like that.
there.
A lot of these
Yeah.
guys do like
Yeah.
one item each that is including of everybody.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. See, there you go. Who doesn't love mac and cheese? Okay. Now mine might be vegan, but still.
It's
okay.
fine.
My dessert. Now I was gonna go with I'm going with the Pizookie, like you get from BJ's.
That's literally
it's
what
like
Scotty
That's what
Scheffler
Scotty
did last
Scheffler
year.
did
good,
last year.
perfect. The warm cookie
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
ice cream on top. Delicious.
I love
Done.
it.
I love
It's
it
my
too.
meal.
All right. I'm going San Diego style here because I'm a San
Ooh.
Diegan
I
who
love
just won the Masters. So because in that tweet you sent us, Braden, it said that Mike Weir, when he won, the Canadian, that he had Canadian beer as the app. I'm going to have a San Diego West Coast IPA.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Little cocktail hour for Craig.
Exactly, as the app. But it's going to be, local craft beer as the app. First course, well, let's just go tortilla soup then.
Hmm?
Why
You're gonna
not?
Go with you're gonna
Nice.
go with Scotty Scheffler's tortilla soup.
Did he have tortilla soup
He
too?
did.
Okay, well, me and Scotty were aligned in this sense. We're going to have tortilla soup. I had originally written down soup plantation style salad, but I think I only know what that means to me. So
I know what that is. Come on
like,
now.
like just with all the good stuff in
Oh,
there,
yeah.
the all that stuff. That's how I do my salad and soup, or when it was a thing that existed.
Fresh tomatoes still exist in other parts of the country.
Main course, let's go fish tacos.
Oh,
See, delicious.
Fish tacos, main course. Sides are easy now, rice and beans. We're just going to get the best rice and beans. And for dessert, here's where I veer off Mexican, but stay San Diego. We're going to get some Julian apple pie.
Oh, delicious.
Good stuff.
That's good. I like the ode to San Diego.
Yeah, little slice of cheddar if you want. That's optional.
I've
That's
never
good
eaten
stuff.
apple pie with cheddar. That's a thing?
It's a real thing. Oh, really? You got to do it.
Oh,
Let's
the
try that
slice of
someday.
cheese
I
on
mean,
the
you're
pie?
a thrill seeker.
Yeah.
To go for the
Yes, yeah.
culinary thrill seek of
Oh, so you've tried
sharp
that.
cheddar.
You've
Absolutely.
done the cheese on the. I've seen people do that before. That's like
Sharp cheddar.
that's in Men in
I gotta
Black.
try it.
Guy put a slice of cheese on his apple pie.
Yeah,
That's a
Really?
thing. That's a thing for sure. I've
Yeah.
never
Okay.
tried it, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a thing.
And hot. Like, don't
Yeah.
put a cold piece on
No,
it.
it's got to melt on top.
I would have just cut like,
Just
hot.
chug up.
Yeah.
Right?
Craig, that tasted awful. No.
What's Craig talking
Melted.
about?
A hot
Okay.
piece of pie and a melted slice of sharp. It can't be mild. Sharp cheddar cheese. It's delicious.
I'm gonna
It
go.
was a good menu. I liked yours.
It's a good menu. I'm gonna go since some of them are like it's like fancy, but like a mix of like finger foods. I'm gonna try to match that. So my appetizer option is I'm gonna have a nice warmed crusted brie that you can have
Oh,
charcuterie
delicious.
style.
Fancy.
And then also, since I'm a sucker for fried pickle slices
I love those.
on the side, so
That's
those
good.
are your appetizer to get the munching started, and then a nice Caesar salad for the first course, nice little Caesar salad to go with my fillet. We'll have a fillet as the main course, and for the fish people, a seared ahi tuna,
Mm.
and then on the side, it's really good to have a mac and cheese. I think. And any type of steak dinner that doesn't go with the tuna though, so I'm gonna go with some bok choy as
Oh,
well.
Wow.
Okay,
Look
wow.
at you.
So a
Oh
little
my
mix of
God.
both, and then for desserts, I'm a sucker for creme brulee. So creme brulee would be
Oh, you and
that's
Ben both.
good.
My
You guys
desserts.
both love creme brulee.
I
Creme
like
brulee
a
is
good creme
delicious.
brulee. So that would be my my overall menu.
Ladies, date Braden. Braden's got the
I can cook all of
Right.
that.
the
By the
key.
way,
No, you cannot.
I can. I do like to cook a lot.
Okay.
I will be making
This is
some.
good stuff.
I will be making some. Since my buddy went to Washington State, they had some alumni thing in town, and you got to buy Cougar Gold cheese. I'm going to be using the Cougar Gold cheese and making a buffalo chicken dip for Sunday Night Baseball. On
Braden
Sunday.
should make that meal for us, like it's our
Yeah.
masters.
Right.
Could. I have not made creme brulee yet. I have to add that to my
Hit
repertoire.
number one in the books. You're making this dinner, kid.
That sounds.
Oh yeah, that's real
Make
fair
it
to
on.
him.
My specialty is I can
As a
do.
celebration, you're going to cook us dinner.
Celebration for you.
If I'm cooking at dinner in the summertime, we're going with smoked brisket.
Listen,
I'll smoke a brisket.
listen, do you hear how he's talking about the
This
food? This will
delicious.
be a prize for him.
It's great.
He loves.
Oh,
he
yeah.
wants to show off his culinary skills.
That's great.
I think it's a great skill to have.
It's a great skill to have.
It is.
And
That was a
I
good menu. I enjoyed your menu.
I believe there are some certain things that everybody should learn how to cook and make at least once.
Mm.
And on that list, I was like a steak and stuff like. I did fried chicken for the first time in the fall. I was like, I feel like I know a fried chicken recipe. It was delicious. Loved it. We do sliders and stuff, but on the weekends, like to use my culinary skills as much as possible.
All right, we are running late.
Very
we got to
nice.
we got to take a break. We are looking for 2 contestants for the match game, which we are going to play next, and it's just going to be me, Annie, and Braden. So it's going to be nice and easy for you. It'll go a little bit quicker. We should fit it by the top of the hour, but we need 2 contestants. This is Silly Games coming up. Your opportunity to be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, 2 tickets to Kool and the Gang. Somebody will qualify because we are looking for 2 contestants. You will be going head-to-head against one another, trying to match the panel on the match game. We will do that when we come back. 833-288-0973 is the number to use if you want to be a contestant. 833-288-0973. Match game next. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. We're right on time. 12:45 for Silly Games. Annie and Elsten here with you. This is where every day we try to qualify somebody in our listening audience for our end of the month grand prize drawing. We have one every month. This month, the grand prize is a 2-night stay at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Kool and the Gang. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Today, we play the match game. And that means we've got 2 contestants getting ready to match the stars. And today the stars are just Annie and Braden and me.
Just us.
Just us.
No losers.
No Scraby, no Klug, no. We tried to recruit Dave Marcus. It was too late.
Yeah.
It was too
Busy.
But we're ready to play the match game. And who are our contestants today on the match game, Braden?
That would be Andrew and Johnny. Oh, and we lost Andrew
We just hung up on Andrew. Oh, no.
because this machine
He was
stinks.
threatened by
Okay.
the
Well, we've got
game.
Johnny.
We got Johnny ready to go.
Hi, Johnny in San Diego. How are you?
I'm good.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
This is Johnny, and I like to party.
Johnny likes to
Hey,
party. We do like
Johnny.
Johnny who likes to party. Hope you do better today on the match game.
Andrew's back.
Thank you.
Andrew is back. Hi, Andrew. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Lots of guys.
We got you back. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm just doing the same thing you guys are doing. It's working.
Fair enough.
Awesome.
You're also hosting a 4-hour radio show right now?
No, that's
No,
He must
just-
be. He must be part of a commercial. He must be in his
He's
commercial
in his,
break.
he's in his break. No,
Yeah.
we're,
Thanks for
we're
joining
both
us,
working. We're
Andrew.
both working. I'm just being cute and stupid. Andrew and Johnny, welcome to the match game. Here's how it's going to work. We are going to have 2 rounds. In those rounds, you will get 1 question apiece. I'll read the prompt. We 3 here in the studio will first write down our answers. Then I will give it back to you. I will get your answer, and we'll see how many people you match. Over the course of 2 rounds, whoever matches the most is the winner. If you're tied, we'll do a tiebreaker. Sound good?
Yeah.
That's a yes. I accept silence as consent as well. So, Andrew, because you were the first to call in, what?
Pause.
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 What?
Silence
Okay,
is not consent.
Keep,
Moving on.
Keep moving on. Yeah.
For this.
Yes.
For this. For this. Oh, my God. Just for the match game. Just like if you understood the rules.
Okay. Moving
I
on.
wasn't going on to later.
Moving on.
Okay. All right. Jeez.
He did make the
Louise.
Tiger Woods
Got
joke
me all
there.
What kind
flustered.
of game show is this here?
I don't know.
I don't know. Match game after dark. Holy cow.
Pac-12.
Okay. And Andrew, would you like question A or question B?
My name starts with A, so it's still A.
Question A. Here we go, panelists. I think my roommate's baby is growing up too fast. Last night, I caught her trying to blank. I think my roommate's baby is growing up too fast. Last night, I caught her trying to blank. I'm writing down mine. Let me know, you guys, if you have yours.
Got it.
Got it.
Okay. Andrew, we turn it back to you. I think my roommate's baby is growing up too fast. Last night, I caught her trying to
Cut her own hair.
cut her own hair. Okay.
Oddly specific.
I don't know if you'll get a match, but let's see what Annie had to say.
Well, I had cooked dinner.
Cook dinner. That's nice.
Oh, the cooked dinner theme.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm hungry still.
I went with sneak out.
Sneak out. Okay.
That's good.
Baby sneaking out. And I went with drive. I'm trying to drive the car. You know,
Yeah.
babies they grow up so fast these days. All of a sudden, she's inside my SUV, trying to hit the pedals.
New 400.
Well, that's okay, Andrew. You didn't score, but you're going to get a second chance. Johnny, it's time for your question in round 1. Are you listening?
Yes.
Good. Stay tuned. Here we go. We're going to give it's our turn. Panelists, here we go. Manager Mike tried changing his lineup. Now he's going to change his blank. Manager Mike tried changing his lineup. Now he's going to change his blank. I got mine.
Okay.
We all got ours. All right, Johnny, it's your turn. Here's the prompt. Manager Mike tried changing his lineup. Now he's going to change his blank. What is it?
Clothes.
Clothes. Change his clothes. I like it.
My mom just texted me oil. The oil
Change his
car.
oil. Change the oil.
But I went with shirt, jersey. I feel like that
Those
is
are close.
close.
Those are close.
Yes.
That's a match. That's a match, Johnny. Braden, what do you got?
I went with socks.
Socks.
Yeah.
You gonna count it?
No. That's Ropa Interior, much like what I had. Change his underwear. Change his underwear.
Don't think it's all kind of
Switch
clothes. No.
I mean, I don't think so.
You got to draw a line somewhere.
Got to draw a line somewhere. But that's one match. Johnny, you are up 1-0. So, Andrew, it is time for your second question, and you need at least one match to stay in the game. Would you like question A or question B?
Go A again.
Let's go A again. Here we go. Awesome Annie is quite the thrill seeker. She's over roller coasters. Now she wants to blank.
Oh, shoot. What'd she say?
Nothing. Don't say anything yet. We're writing down ours. Awesome Annie is quite the thrill seeker, but she's over roller coasters. Now she wants to blank.
I'm ready to go.
I am ready. Okay. And are you ready, Annie?
I'm ready.
I'd just like to remind everybody that all characters on Match Game are completely fictional, and any bearing to anyone living or dead is purely coincidental. Just always like to have that
Good
reminder
disclaimer to have.
when we talk about
Right.
Manager Mike and Awesome Annie. These are
Who's Annie?
fictional characters with
Annie
no.
wouldn't even guess her own name for a name that starts with A on Fast
That's
Money.
a good point. That's a great point, Braden. All right. We've got our answers. So, Andrew, now we're looking for yours. Awesome Annie is quite the thrill seeker. She's over roller coasters. Now she wants to.
Well, before I answer, I'd also like to say last week you guys said happy birthday to my mom on there, Kathy. Just like to thank you for that because she got a little bit of tears.
Oh,
And I'll
You're
say,
welcome.
skydive.
skydive.
Ah,
A great answer.
Great
That is a
answer.
good
The
answer.
answer I should have gone with, but I didn't.
Oh, Annie,
Oh,
what
no.
did you do for the fictional
And
Awesome
hello
Annie?
to your mom again. I said eat apple pie with sharp cheddar.
Oh,
Nice. Matches with Chris in the chat.
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Wants
Yeah.
to try
I mean,
apple
you
pie with
really are.
fruits.
You really are a risk
I
taker.
mean, we're really
Sharp cheddar. Braden, what do you got?
I went with skydive.
All right.
Hey.
And let's go over to Craig. And Craig went with skydive.
Skydive.
Andrew.
Chris.
Oh my goodness. So Andrew, you take the lead. You have the lead 2-1. And now, Johnny, it's on you. One match you tie, two matches you win. Here we go with our final question. Oh no.
Making himself laugh.
Here we
Brayden.
go. Sexy Nando's pants ripped while he was sliding, revealing his blank. Sexy Nando's pants ripped while he was sliding, revealing his blank. We're writing down our answers very carefully. All right. I got mine.
I got mine too.
Annie, you ready? All right. Here we go, Johnny, for the game, or your chance to stay in the game. Sexy Nando's pants ripped while he was sliding, revealing his...
Oh man. Churro.
His churro!
My man said churro.
Stay right there, Johnny. Stay right there. Annie,
First of all, my mom just texted me I want to say,
You can say ass,
yeah.
yeah.
My mom just texted me ass, but okay.
That's hilarious.
I put sculpted calf muscle. I kept
That's
it.
beautiful.
I kept it
Calf muscle.
sculpted calf muscle. You know it would be sculpted, okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
pause.
Well,
On the churro.
Oh, Braden, what do you got?
I did not put. I put new tattoo.
New tattoo.
oh
That's
wow, nice.
good. Just went with boxers. Just boxers. He's not a briefs guy. There's no way. He's got to be a boxers
I
guy.
am not
I'm not answering that question.
that question either.
Andrew, congratulations. You won the match game. However, Johnny,
Yeah,
for
come
having the
from behind
best and funniest answer and giving us churro.
Churro.
Johnny, you will also qualify as a winner. by executive decision because you had the funniest line of the segment, and the
Very
line is
Yeah.
designed for entertainment purposes. So Andrew and Johnny both stay there. You're both winners today. I think we're all winners for having played the match game
And
today.
for churros.
And for churros.
Well, wait, no.
Craig's gonna get cheer out the ballpark park tonight.
I like churros.
Okay, Ben.
Churros.
Okay, Mud.
He's gonna get one at the park
I mean,
tonight.
that really was a great answer.
It was a great answer. Very well timed. Well done. Love it.
I could not.
Great contestants
I could
today.
not call him the loser of the game
No.
for coming up with that. Oh my gosh. Elisa matched me for boxers. I mean, you could have said slide pants. That would be like the technically correct answer. Did you see, guys, that Riley Green, by the way, yesterday slid into home for the Detroit Tigers?
We talked
and
about that
his
yesterday.
right
off-air.
leg ripped all the
Yeah.
way down.
Yeah.
Showed us
His,
that video.
his seams
crazy.
completely ripped on his pant. And then did you see also that like 3 teams still they won't have their City Connects until
Amazing.
like midsummer or something because Fanatics can't get them to them.
Yeah,
So
just can't get it worked out.
But those pants, I mean, yeah, maybe that's the whole thing with MLB. We want to make them see through. We want to make them rip. We want to entertain the masses here.
Remember, like I said, sports are entertainment.
That's right.
Come for the baseball, stay for the churros.
Stay for the ripped clothes. It's like what's the Vegas thing?
What happens in Vegas stays
No,
in
no,
Vegas.
no, that show.
What happens in our pants
Magic
doesn't
Mike
stay in
or
our
whatever
pants.
it is.
Magic
I don't
Mike.
know.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Wow, that escalated quickly. Pause.
All right, we're going to do something
Pause.
completely different next. We're talking to Will Carroll from Under the Knife on Annie and Elsten. Hour number 4, getting ready to roll into a short Gwynn and Chris, and then into Padres baseball. It's Annie and Elsten here with you, your weekly midday hang from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, with Annie Halbrin. Craig Elsten here. Braden Soprenet is lining up our guest, we will be speaking with momentarily. This is an old friend, Annie, and somebody who has worked hard to make his name in the industry, and his Under the Knife Substack has been around for a long time, extremely popular. We suggest that you check it out. He's got a free subscription level as well as paid levels, but anytime something's going on in the world of sports that involves sports injury, sports medicine, we turn to our friend Will Carroll, who makes his debut now on Annie and Elsten here on 97.3 The Fan. Annie and Craig here with you. Will, good to talk to you, my friend.
Hey, it's been a while. And, just a couple of weeks ago, I was hoping you could make it out to Phoenix. We had all the original Baseball Prospectus guys. First time they'd ever publicly been on a panel. It was amazing. I was honored to be the moderator. And I know you are kind of one of the OG Prospectus guys.
I mean, OG friend of Prospectus guys. I guess.
That's close enough.
It's true, though. It is absolutely true. And Will, it's great to have you on. There's a bunch of things to talk about. I'm sure a lot of stations have been calling you this week with what we'd call topic A, which is right the elbows of starters and the decline of those ligaments. And we had an Eno Saris tweet that we put up when we were talking about this yesterday, Will, that showed the top 10 starters in velo. And then he put a little X by the guys who have had Tommy John or have been on the injured list. And it was 6 out of 10. Is it that simple?
Almost. This has been a busy week for me. It's the Grim Reaper. Everybody likes to talk to me, but nobody wants to. With the velocity, yes. Spin, that adds to it. Workload, even more so. What we don't know is on a per pitch basis, how much stress are we putting on the elbow? It's not the same for everybody. We're getting that data, but we're still understanding how to kind of find where that demon lives. If you get up above 95 miles an hour, nobody survives over 100 miles an hour. If you take a look up there, it's Aroldis Chapman and nobody else. And more and more, we're seeing guys live up there. I saw a high school kid throw 104 a couple weeks ago. That's where this game is now. So, part of the problem is that we just don't know enough. We don't monitor enough. Load management has gotten to be something of a bad word because of the way it's been understood or really misunderstood. So we have to get to that. You don't suddenly go out and run a marathon. You don't stop running so that you'll be ready a month from now when you run a marathon. That's not going to work out well. You build up to it. You don't say, I think I'll go bench press 300 pounds a day. Maybe you do, Craig, but you go and you build up to it. And that's what we haven't done. We're better at it, but some teams are better at it than others. I think, the Padres do some innovative things. They've got the Flex Pro Grip, which they believe pretty strongly in. We'll see whether or not it gets results. It's an interesting device, but we'll have to see exactly how it works out. But right now, the real miracle is all these guys are going to come back. All these guys, imagine it'd be like a Thanos snap and like a third of the pitchers are gone. Imagine what the game would look like, because that's really what it was. Until Frank Jobe came up with his miracle almost 50 years ago.
Will, I saw some reports that the injuries have been this bad year after year, the first month or so of the season. And we all are maybe looking at this with some selective memory because it happens so often at the beginning of each year. Is that the case? Are they really rising, or is it just that these are some of the superstars and we're kind of have selective memory, but the numbers have sort of been where they're at, for the past maybe handful of years?
Longer than that, really about 25.
There you go. Yeah.
We always see the peak come by May 1st. Almost, I think it's 2/3 of Tommy John surgeries are going to happen before May 1st. Now, the last couple of years, COVID threw everything off. So why didn't it throw this off as well? Well, it did. we were seeing weird patterns. We were seeing it go into the end of the season. We also see kind of this second peak in August and September where that seasonal level of fatigue starts to break guys down. They have to muscle up. They're trying to still throw 95, but their muscles only want to go 92. So you crank things up. It just happens all the time. First we get the sheer numbers, but when it's the superstars, that's when people really prick up their ears. If it's some guy, nobody cares. If it's 10 college kids, which is exactly what I saw last weekend, 10 different Division I players on ranked teams went down for the rest of the season, and these are guys who might have been drafted. You know what? They're going to be drafted anyway because we know they're going to come back. Spencer Strider from the Braves, when he was at Clemson, had Tommy John surgery his senior year, came back, and he's been pretty darn good until it broke again, and now he's going to have another one. So, yeah, I think this is a little bit of big name-itis.
With that said, though, Will, there's so many, as you said, there's so many aspects to this, and we played on the show yesterday an almost 5-minute clip of Justin Verlander after one of his rehab starts talking about it. I know you went through some of that content and wrote about it as well. And the thing that just kind of keeps sticking into me is it feels like it was a Rubicon that was crossed that you can't go back over in terms of this. And he points it back to 2015. He points it back to Happy Fun Balls and saying, okay, well, all the things I was taught to do as a pitcher to have success, now guys can go Oppo Taco on me when I locate that fastball knee high on the outside corner. It's no longer a flyout, it's a home run. So now I got to ramp it up. I got to go 100%. And while we could maybe get into some of his potential solutions, that really made a lot of sense to me.
It did. It absolutely did. And, what we're trying to do is have guys sprint a marathon. It doesn't work that well. These guys have been trained to do that. The last pitcher I remember that really went at less than max effort was Livan Hernandez. He would sit there and throw 85, 86, 87, and then he'd gear things up. I even remember seeing Aroldis Chapman when he was in the minor leagues coming up as a starter. First time I saw him was down in Louisville when he was playing for the Bats. He was out there throwing 96, 97, and it was serious. But we had been told he was this Superman. He was going to throw. And then he got a guy on base. And all of a sudden he bears down. Here comes a 102. And we're like, oh, there it is. Guys just can't do that anymore. If you think back, everybody in San Diego might remember, well, not everybody, it's been a while, but a lot of people remember Ozzie Smith being there. Ozzie Smith, if you take a look at his numbers the first couple years he was in the league, I don't know if he would have still been playing after the first couple of years. We don't have those kind of hitters. I don't care how good you are with the glove. We don't have those guys anymore. If you think back to the Go Crazy Folks home run that he had in the 85 NLCS, it was because he only had 4 other home runs the rest of that year.
Right.
You think of guys like Mark Belanger and Dave Concepcion. There were holes in a lineup where a pitcher could take a break, and you don't have those anymore. Now you have shortstops who are hitting 30, 40 home runs. You got Corey Seager's out there. You got, it goes back to Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter and Nomar. You just don't have those breaks. Every guy can take you out of the ballpark, and every guy is trying. They're swinging. They don't care if they strike out. They can have 200 strikeouts and 40 home runs, and if they win, and hey, that's what we figured out wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this vicious cycle, right? Because they're chasing the velocity. If you're going to last here in the big leagues, a lot of times, right, you're going to need to have that. You're going to have to throw hard. You're going to have to be able to show that you've got that in you and keep it up. At the same time, pitching is a premium, right? Like, you don't want to see all these superstars going out of the game or being lost for seasons. These are guys also, Will, that have all the access to good. They probably do good rehab. They've looked at their bodies. They hook themselves up to all the machines. Like, where do you kind of see like the apex of this happening? Because at some point it just feels like, that we're building here to something. I'm not exactly sure what it might be, but that might change this game in some significant way.
Yeah, I wish I knew. We're seeing more and more velocity, higher and higher guys. We're seeing younger and younger guys break down because they're pitching year round. They're going for that high velocity. They know that velocity is what gets the scouts and the coaches looking. If you can spin a sweeper that breaks 19 inches, then people notice. So I don't know what it is. Is it workload management? Is it figuring this out, or do we have to get stronger? Are we going to see like big beefy pitchers out there? I don't think that's it. Are we going to have to just get better at the management of these guys? Are they going to have to get better at recovery? I think one of the things we might see is that more and more we're seeing the revisions, which are the second, even the third Tommy Johns these guys are having. Those are just as successful, but it also takes you out for another year. One of the more interesting stats is that if you go to Cooperstown and look up and down for the 50 years that Tommy John has existed, almost, it'll be 50 years in September, there's only one pitcher who's had Tommy John surgery who's in there. And if you take a look at the pitchers now today, who's on track to be Hall of Famers? Verlander. That's it. Just missing a year of your career takes you out of some of those big numbers.
Yeah.
It's really unusual how true that is. So if you want to go to Cooperstown, keep your elbow healthy.
Wow. Yeah, I was just thinking, like you said that, and maybe Cole. I mean, trying to think of like anyone else that would even be on a path right now. And
you would like to think guys like Jacob deGrom, but he's had two Tommy John surgeries and a number of other injuries.
Scherzer?
No, I don't think he has the numbers. He's on the outside. I'm not a voter, so I'm sure somebody can jump in. But it's one of those things where it's just really unusual. Though, here's a great trivia question for everybody. Who was the first guy with Tommy John surgery to be in?
Oh, wow. I don't know. Who?
Paul Molitor.
Huh. Really?
Yeah. It wasn't a pitcher until John Smoltz.
Yeah. So I guess Harper can be another Tommy John that makes it in too.
There you go. That's a good one. And we're seeing more of that as well.
That's wild. We're talking with Will Carroll. Check out his newsletter, undertheknife.substack.com, where you can subscribe for free, or you can get even more and even more deeply written stuff at a paid level. So we saw the two sides, so to speak, turn their guns at one another last weekend, shooting allegations over the wall. And the big one coming forward from the Players Association was pitch clock. Well, why aren't you looking at the pitch clock? Should we be looking at the pitch clock?
Yes and no. You would have thought we would see it more last year when guys maybe weren't used to it. We haven't seen great increases in the number at AAA or lower. We haven't seen increases in the numbers at college. They vary. They tend to move around. There's a range, just like there's a range for ACLs in the NFL. So no, I don't think it's fully the pitch clock, but I don't think it helps. Actually, I'm seeing more hamstring and back injuries because of the pitch clock, because you're having to use more muscular energy. You can't walk around and take a deep breath and take a lap of things or call the catcher out anymore. So you're having to go. And if you think about just a workout, if you can't take a little break in there between sets, there are going to be problems.
Moving on to a different elbow injury, Will. Manny Machado underwent right elbow extensor tendon repair. Essentially, what we understand, and you can correct us certainly, is kind of is tennis elbow, and is a little bit unusual for what he's been dealing with in the big leagues, and it's been going on for a little while now. So, what do you know about the recovery from that? He's still working to get back to third base. He is swinging the bat. What do you know about the recovery from that, and maybe when he'll start to feel as good as he used to?
Yeah, it's an unusual injury just because it's not as stressed. It's called tennis elbow for a reason. It's when the elbow is fully extended and you get that shock wave through there from the racket. You don't really have that. You don't really fully extend your arm, and you certainly don't have any sort of thing going through the racket. There's a lot of thought of whether it was part of his swing was doing it, whether there were other things he was doing. It goes all the way back to was it Joel Zumaya that injured himself playing Guitar Hero? I think it was.
Yes.
Yes. There are lots of little things that go into it. Guys who work out. There was one football player recently who the way he gripped the bar on his squats was how he got injured. So there are a lot of little things, but it's an unusual injury. So they have to take it cautiously. Throwing is going to be the last thing. We know that flexor tendons, the opposite side, they really have a tendency to recur. Even after surgery, they're really problematic. So you have to make sure everything, not just the tendon, has been repaired and has healed up as much as it can, but the muscles around it and the system. One of the amazing things about the elbow, and even Tommy John surgery and these UCL reconstructions we see, we have no idea how the system works. We know what breaks a UCL. It's about 38 pounds of force. But if you're throwing the ball 95, you're throwing with about 60 to 65 pounds of force every single time. So what else is working? It's the muscles, it's the tendons, it's the bones sometimes. So it's pretty amazing that here we are 50 years after Tommy John surgery, and we still have no idea how that arm works.
It's fascinating.
Well, going now from an elbow to a shoulder. Joe Musgrove had some issues at the end of last season, opted for rest and rehabilitation. Obviously, anytime you open up the shoulder, it's pretty scary, especially for a pitcher. It feels like it's actually almost in some ways more scary now than it is the elbow, just given how much the UCL revisions have become, as you mentioned, almost routine. I guess my question when it comes to Joe, he's not off to a great start this season. His velo's a little bit down. What are the indicators we should be looking for?
Really, it's how normal does he look? Guys with shoulder injuries, and it's vastly harder to fix shoulders. There's just so many things that are going on there that can go wrong. I mean, just look at poor Trevor Story with that fractured shoulder after a dislocation. With Musgrove, there's tendons, there's muscles, there's ligaments, there's nerves, there's a labrum, there's bones that are supposed to be in certain places. Neil Elitrosh, the great surgeon, head doctor for the Dodgers, says putting a shoulder back together is like putting together a jigsaw puzzle without having the box top. You know where everything kind of goes, but are you sure? Are the tensions all right? Is everything going? The other thing with Musgrove is he had that fractured toe, and those will really throw you off. If you've ever stubbed your toe, you don't like to walk around. You're for the next couple hours, you're hobbling, you feel it, you're thinking about it. Think about it. You're trying to pitch and all that force. You're pushing off, you're landing, whichever foot it is. It'll really throw off what have to be very repeatable mechanics. So with Musgrove, what I've seen is he just doesn't look comfortable yet. That can be confidence. That can be something still in there. That could be the toe. So there's still a lot of things. He's just got to get comfortable, and the medical staff and the coaching staff have to get together and find a way to get him there as soon as possible.
One last thing. I'm sorry, Annie, do you have something there?
It brings me back a little bit, sorry, to Fernando Tatis Jr. because he really didn't want to have that shoulder. And I don't know if it's the same thing. I'm not sure. I'd love for you to tell me. Didn't want to have that shoulder surgery. And I wonder, is that the reason why? Because any kind of shoulder surgery is what you just talked about.
Yes, no. I don't know this for a fact, but everybody I heard said that Fernando just was scared of surgery. And as well you should be. If you've never had it, you don't want to have it. You don't want to get cut open. The infections happen, bad things happen. People just don't like it. And if you've never had it, for me, I've had so many knee surgeries at this point, I don't care. Just open it up again. But I get that people don't want to have it. But with shoulders especially, I think he's been around the game long enough. He's baseball smart enough that he's seen guys like Cody Bellinger or Matt Kemp, guys come through and struggled to get their swing back together. And certainly he had none of these problems. We've seen in probably the last 5 years, once again, Neil Elitrosh has figured out how to put these shoulders back together in a better way. Guys are coming back quicker without as much complication. It's amazing how many things are so much better in the last 5 years, whether it's materials or techniques or rehabs, and guys are coming back faster and faster, except in baseball. That's what I'm not getting is why baseball is so conservative with rehab times. Because a guy like Tatis showed you can come back pretty quickly and pretty darn well.
Last thing is a listener request from our beloved New York Mike, who is always in our chat and would like to know an update on Kodai Senga. And seeing as he's on one of my fantasy teams, I would also like an update on Kodai Senga.
Yeah, he's throwing. He's in the midst of a throwing program for that capsule tear that he had in the back of his shoulder. He's going to have to ramp up. It's going to be at least late May. I think he's on the 60-day IL. So I'm not sure exactly what the date is on that. But you'll probably see him in Syracuse, Binghamton. I can't remember where the Mets AAA is. Probably in the next 3 weeks. And I'm told things are going very well. And once again, they were trying so hard to avoid the surgery. They actually used some fairly innovative techniques on Senga. A lot of people are saying, is that because he's Japanese? I'm like, no, that's because the Mets are really smart and have a lot of money.
Interesting. Well, listen, Will, we'd like to get you a lot of money. Let everyone in the audience know how they can support you.
Yeah, you can go to undertheknife.substack.com. You can sign up for free, or for $5 a month, you get everything, including tomorrow. I've got a suggestion that costs baseball almost nothing. They could implement it tomorrow. They don't have to change anything and might just save a couple arms.
Okay. Well, that's the type of tease that we like in professional radio. Will Carroll, thanks so much. I'm sure we'll chat again very soon down the road.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Telling you, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. And it just breaks it down again. Like, this shoulder surgery ended up being very good for Fernando. He will say it over and over. It helped him a lot. And he was so afraid of playing before because of what kept happening with his shoulder. It kept popping out. He couldn't go full force. Now that he's had the surgery, he's back to being the player that he likes to be. But it's true. It is scary for a player who your bread and butter is every little mechanical thing that's happening on your pitch or your swing or whatever. I can see how scary that can be, especially with something like the shoulder. Like, I love that. A jigsaw puzzle without a cover. You got to put it all back together and it's got to be right.
Thanks to Will. Let's take a time out. We will come back, reset some of the topics of the show as we get ready for Padres baseball in just 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Love it.
Let's go. Well, definitely love it if we pull a dub today. We need to fly the W flag. Unfortunately, that's what the Cubs do. So,
yeah, whoa.
I mean, we have to have our own flag. Where's our flag?
There's
How
a
about
dude out there that has a brown and gold flag.
Oh, the guy
There
on
it
the
is.
balcony. Yeah.
Well, there's
Oh.
over by the old Park of the Park interest by Social Tap, that
Mhm.
that apartment's got a little mini brown and gold flag that he raises every time they win.
I never knew
So we
that,
need that
Braden.
flag to go up the flagpole today.
That's correct.
That's what we need.
And they leave it up for the whole 24 hours. It's cool.
All right. So let's get that happen. We'll tell you how when we come back. Andy and Elsten on the Fan. I love this band. The Sacred Souls, Thee. Sacred Souls. From South Bay, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
This is a South Bay band.
That's very cool.
Yeah. You wouldn't know. Oh, hang on. Double Annie. I'm back. Welcome back, everybody. It's Annie and Elsten here with you. Where'd my glasses go? I forget. Don't know. Doesn't matter.
Uh-oh.
We are here with you till 2 o'clock.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
the
small
glasses?
things.
Okay,
I'm
got it.
nearsighted. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I can totally see. In fact, I don't wear them when I'm announcing because the field's
It's farther
down
away.
there.
Right. Yeah.
I can see things far away. Great. It's just little things up close. So for the screens, I like it,
Yeah. It helps.
little buffer. Regardless, here we are.
Didn't know.
Regardless, here we are. Quick reset. We're going to do Ask Us Anything to wrap up the show, of course. But now we're 2 hours from the Padres game. We spent a lot of the first 2 hours talking about the Padres. So a couple things bear repeating. Obviously, the club yesterday followed up their most inspirational game with one of their least inspirational games. It wasn't their worst loss of the season per se. It just felt like a flat pancake to me, Annie, all night.
It felt like a missed opportunity. Like you're coming off of that huge comeback that sparked all of San Diego, and you wanted to show that it would be different from last year. And against a guy that is making his first start in the majors, it seemed like it was doable, or that there should have been at least a little, more hits, more of a challenge for this guy.
Yeah, I thought that the game took a tone from the first two batters for the Padres when Bogaerts had a great at bat, led to a double, a long at bat, one where he was challenging a rookie pitcher, and then Tatis followed with hard contact to center field. And listen, you make aggressive plays and you're out. I think everyone is going to live with that compared to passive plays that hold you down over the course of time. It was an aggressive play that really didn't work out for Xander Bogaerts. But if our team mentality is so fragile that getting one guy thrown out after a leadoff double puts you in the sinker, then what are we here for?
That's it, because I'd argue that was their best chance to put a run up, besides obviously the home run from Rosario, was Xander Bogaerts, runners in scoring position right there at the beginning of the game. No outs. But the problem was that shouldn't have also been your only real chance to score. No, that was it.
Yeah, that was it. We have a bad habit in San Diego the last couple of years. And I guess you could say it goes back further than that. But I'm really looking at last season and this season of taking these moments, facing a struggling pitcher, facing a young pitcher, and it always feels like they've got the book on us more than we've got the book on them. And that's what always confuses the heck out of me. How, for example, why weren't the Cubs just completely flummoxed when Stephen Kolek came into the game? Because they've never seen him before. We always are like, well, we've never seen this guy before, this and that. Everyone else just watches their iPad, gets the right scouting tips, and goes to town. So I'm not taking that excuse last night for Benjamin Brown.
Benjamin Button, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Brown. But Craig, Mike Schultz talks about elite adjusters. Okay, maybe he does flummox you a bit through the top of the lineup, or whatever. But at some point, you're going back to that dugout and you're like, okay, I see him. He's doing this. Let's take advantage.
Yeah. And that didn't happen. And the Padres have been getting off to slow starts. This is something that I grabbed the notepad for this morning when I was at the breakfast table. And I just started going through line scores. In their last 4 games, the Padres have scored a run in 2 of their first 20 innings. So looking at the first 5 innings of the game, where you're setting that tone, where you're hopefully grinding down the starting pitcher. And in only 2 of 20 innings over those 4 games did the Padres put up a run. So sure, it's great to score in the first. No one's against it. And I do think if the Padres had taken the lead yesterday, it would have worked and would have gone a long way to change the game. But in those first 2 runs through the lineup, those first 5 innings, if you're not getting anything going, it's a double-edged sword. Obviously, you haven't built the lead. But secondly, the other team is getting more and more confident every single time. We're going to get your guy eventually.
Yeah, there isn't a ton of pressure on them. They were able to, it seemed like, execute their game plan pretty well. And also considering the fact that they are bullpen and they did run out some of the same guys, did not look great the night before. And so even for that reason, you're like, okay, like I was thinking, here comes, the bullpen. Well, this is where the Padres had success. Although honestly, Benjamin Brown was kind of isn't he he was a bullpen.
Yeah, that
player,
was his
whatever.
first ever start.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I thought that, okay, well, they're going to feast on that, but that didn't turn out to be the case either.
So today it's Dylan Cease against Kyle Hendricks, a pitcher, Kyle Hendricks, who is off to a terrible start this season. He's given up 17 hits, including 3 homers in 7 2/3 innings. 17 hits in 7 2/3 innings. The type of thing that if it was happening here, we'd be saying, get that guy out of the rotation. Can't take it. If that was our 5th starter, if Matt Waldron had given up 17 hits in 7 2/3 innings, everyone would be like, get this guy out of the rotation. Kyle Hendricks can never be taken from the rotation because he's Cubs royalty, right? He's been there forever. But this guy throws 87. He throws 87, 88, sinks it, slides it, cuts it, change ups, curve balls. Can't tip your cap to Kyle Hendricks today.
And for some reason, and I always kind of hate doing this because the teams are they're not the same throughout Kyle Hendricks' career against the Padres.
Sure.
He's not facing the same players, obviously. But for some reason, he does well against the Padres. 14 career starts against the Padres, 8-3 with a 2.74 earned run average. You got to find a way to get to him. The Dodgers got to him. The Rangers got to him. Got to find a way to get to him and to quiet Yan Gomes, who also, along those lines, as Craig mentioned, 351 average against the Padres, 242 against the rest of the league.
Thought it was interesting that Campy's in the lineup today. And sure, it's not day game after a night game. It's afternoon game after a night game. But nonetheless, it's normally 2 on, 1 off for the starting catcher. And maybe that's indicative of Mike Schilt kind of feeling what we feel. This is a big game today.
And a day off tomorrow. So maybe you run, I guess, well, not maybe, they are. Run him out there. Perhaps you could build a good enough lead where you could even rest a few of these guys. I mean, that would be great, right? You take them out in the later innings. You rest them. You've got Brett Sullivan now you can use. You've got Kyle Higashioka. And if you've built that kind of buffer, then they get a day and a half off, which would be lovely.
Yes. So let's get to business today. This is a good Cubs team. No one should be confused and be like, oh, no, well, this team stinks and we're supposed to dominate them. The Cubs are going to be in the mix. I would still probably pick them to win the Central. I mean, the Cardinals are okay, but I would still probably pick, obviously, Milwaukee's off to the hottest start. I don't think they have the pitching to keep them through the summer. The Pirates are off to a great start. I'm not counting on them to keep it up through the summer. So this is a good Cubs team. And what that means, again, playoffs inside playoffs. Every one of these teams that's in our bucket of wild card contenders, every one of them, there's going to be a tiebreaker. Every single one. And those tiebreakers will matter at the end of the year when you get to game 162, because there's no game 163 anymore. It's just, you went 4-2 against the Cubs. You're ahead of the Cubs. So this is big. This is a chance to be up 2-1 on the Cubs today.
And this is a Cubs team that can hit. They can score runs. They did it against the Dodgers. They've done it against the Padres. Certainly that was they weren't able to score after they got up 8 runs. And so, again, like these are teams that are kind of, in my opinion, it's a good matchup a little bit. Like it should be good and competitive and a little feisty. It definitely is a good Cubs team. And you've got Dylan Cease on the mound. You've got what weren't the best starts from Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove. So it's a chance for Dylan Cease to be the stopgap there. And for him also to show his stuff. I mean, he should be formidable against this offense as well. Yeah.
Now, this is Dylan Cease's day. I hope this is the offense's day, but I hope this is Dylan Cease's day as well to really restore order for the rotation.
And I just want to point out Xander Bogaerts last night saying, like, what happened on Monday was fun. But he said, we can't play like that. I quote, it's tough to play like that. It's not how you want to play. You don't want to be behind 8 runs and coming back. And Mike Schilt said the same thing. Like a comeback like that is awesome and it's fun and it's cool. But that's not how you want to be playing or you want to be going into games most days.
Yeah, you can't do it. Again, right. They took the wrong lesson from Monday. They're like, fall behind 8-0. Well, let's just fall behind 5-0. Get into our comfort zone, way behind, beyond a grand slam behind. Like, No, that's not how it works.
And they know that.
Right. And
Yeah.
Xander knows that. And that's why Xander tried to tag up on Cody Bellinger with nobody out in the first inning, is because he wanted to set a tone. He wanted to give this team the lead. And I get it. It was the wrong decision. You're never going to get mad at a professional baseball player for making an aggressive decision, and it turns out it was the wrong one that time. You just go, maybe next time don't run on Cody Bellinger on a medium strength center field fly ball. Maybe force him to have his back turned to you before you tag up. But nonetheless, thank you, Xander, for being there, being engaged, being ready to fire. Like, cool, do it again next time, just maybe not that scenario.
And you wouldn't have thought that would have been really the only chance at
Right.
that besides the home run. I mean, 3 hits in 4 2/3 innings against Ben Brown from the Padres. So it wasn't going to get it done. And then 1 hit, which was the home run from Rosario against the 4 relievers who followed Brown. It's not going to get it done.
Not enough today. We need it to be enough. We need a good outing from the offense. We need Cease to be solid, just to be solid. Be strong. The Cubs know him. Cubs, White Sox, they play each other all the time. They play each other every year. So they'll have some knowledge. They'll have some idea about Cease, but so will Cease have a lot of knowledge about the Cubs. So I hope, I feel like he's gotten better each time. First time out, a little bit shaky. Second time out, solid 6, but a couple of walks that cost him. He's going to walk guys. He's very Snell-esque. And the way that we don't need him to be Snell-esque is to be like 70 pitches in the third. So I think he's a slightly more efficient Snell. I expect a couple of walks along the way, but let's hope that he's got a solid outing for him today, because the Padres could use a series win leaving town and heading to LA.
Chance to win your first series of the year.
Let's get the job done. With that, let's get our job done, which is to get our last commercial break in. At that point, we're good. And then we'll come back and we'll do Ask Us Anything. This is our end of the show catch-all call-in segment. 833-288-0973 is our number if you'd like to call the show. 833-288-0973. Dial us up during the break. Braden will put you on hold. Don't be surprised if he doesn't answer right away. Just throws you on hold. That means we love you. That means that you're in place. We'll come back. We'll take your calls. You have until 1:50 p.m. to call the show, and we'll come back and take the calls. Only thing we ask is that when you do call, it's not like, hey, let me tell you my thought about this or that. It's that you call with a question, because, see, you ask questions on a segment called Ask Us
Anything.
Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Hey, thanks to everybody for being part of the show today. This hour of Annie and Elsten is brought to you by Prize Picks. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Cash in on basketball's big moments with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Use code KWFN for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Okay,
Great.
we did that. Now let's do this. Here we go, 833-288-0973. If you heard me say that and you want to call, do it right now. Don't wait. Don't think about something else. Call right now because we've got 6 seconds, 6 minutes in the segment. 6 seconds. That's it. We're done. Goodbye. Here's Andrew in San Diego. Andrew called in. Andrew, you're on Annie and Elsten. Ask us anything.
Hey guys, Ben and Woods winner here and the winner from earlier.
Let's
I
go.
was just gonna ask, what, who, if anybody, are your guys' radio? What do you call it? Like guide? I can't think of the word right now.
Mentor or
Mentor. Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Inspiration. Dang, that's a good question.
Favorite radio guy?
I don't know the answer.
I hate saying I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I mean, but this is your first year in radio.
Right.
So,
I need to get back to you on that.
yeah. There's a lot of great people that I worked with at Extra Sports 690, all of whom had some influence on my career one way or another. And sometimes being a mentor is teaching you practices you wouldn't do. And that would certainly be the case with a couple people there. But for the most part, I'll just say, I'll give you one. Good old Ernie Martinez. One of the first people that I met in the world of sports, one of the brightest lights, kindest people, funniest people, but he also had an incredible work ethic. And he taught me a lot of the ropes of the little things, how to put a highlight on a cart. You never had to deal with carts, Braden. You never had to deal with cart machines and reels to reels and setting that up and then going play like that and all that stuff. Learned all that stuff. Now completely useless to me from Ernie Martinez. So shout out Ernie. Love you, brother, wherever you are. And that's your answer. Thank
All
you.
right.
We got Johnny. Is this Johnny who likes to party?
I think it's Johnny who likes to party.
Johnny, ask us anything.
Hey,
You can't
this
get
is
enough.
Johnny.
What's up, brother?
Party, also a winner.
Also a
Earlier
winner.
today.
Yes, you are, Mr. Churro. What would you like to ask us?
Yeah. You know what? Let's go with what's your favorite type of Mexican food?
If I'm going to go to a Mexican restaurant or a taco shop that I have never been to before, I am going to order the taco enchilada combo, the old number one. Give me the old number one. I want to know your beef taco, cheese enchilada, rice and beans. Give those things to me and tell me how you do with them. Because if you do those things right, you have got to be a great Mexican restaurant
We
or
did this, didn't
taco
we?
shop.
We did this like in March
Yes, but
or February.
people
Number
forget.
one combo at Casa de Pico.
Number one combo.
I get that every time. It's a shredded beef taco, a cheese enchilada, and a bean and cheese burrito.
So
A
good.
nice little marg on the side.
Potato roll tacos, guacamole.
That's a
Salsa.
sit-down place. But if I'm going to a taco shop, I don't know. I think if you screw up a bean and cheese, you're in trouble. So I usually go with that if I've never been to a place.
Sure.
And then once you earn my trust on the bean and cheese, I hit you up with the carne asada burrito. And then if we really want to, if our relationship has then geared to the next level, I got to try your fries in the burrito, in the California burrito.
In the Cali burrito.
That's when you know we're on a tight level. If I order a Cali B at your place, because not all Cali Bs are made equally.
Can I say I think a lot of Mexican restaurants undercook their fries in the California burrito?
Interesting.
See, to me, it's the type of fry. Like I need like the type like McDonald's has, like those kind of style
Shoestring-
fries.
shoestring
No, they're not
fries?
shoestring. They're like double fried, like
Yeah.
the skinny ones.
Yeah.
Those are perfect for carne asada fries, and California burritos. But like, I wouldn't put steak fries in a California burrito. And some places do. I don't need that many potatoes. Then
I
it's
don't
just
need that either.
potatoes. You need the crunchy fries in a Cali B.
Couldn't agree more. Get crunchy.
Now I'm starving.
Art, you snuck in, brother.
Here's the question.
Go for it.
Do you guys
Ask it.
still like the Chargers or not?
No, absolutely
That's
not.
a big no on my
That's
part,
a
dog.
huge no.
Um,
Do you
No.
still like the Chargers, Art?
I love them. I don't like them. I love them.
All right.
Die hard fan.
Hey, go Chargers.
I'm
all
a
the
no.
way up to LA.
Call me in September when the season's over.
Boop, 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 boop.
Dun, dun.
What did you hate as a kid, but now love as an adult?
Naps.
What did you hate as a kid, but not vegetables?
Naps.
That
I
makes
don't know
sense.
if I hated them, but I certainly didn't love them. So
Yeah.
I'm with vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golf. I hated
Golf,
golf when I
yeah.
was a kid. I always made fun of, oh, you play golf, huh?
Did you hate playing golf as a kid? Like golf?
I
like,
didn't
was
really
always-
get to golf.
Oh, okay,
I didn't really
that's
get to golf. So I just sat there, looking up at people, so to speak.
Don't say watching
oh,
golf.
Well, that's
Watching
true
golf.
too. That's true too.
Better as an adult.
Yeah.
Naps for sure. Hated naps as a kid. Love naps now. Naps are great.
Mom, I don't want a nap.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel great.
I'm not tired.
Oh, wow. All right, gang. That's it for us. Coming up, Chris Ello is going to bring you the most intense, concentrated version of Gwynn and Chris that you've ever heard. It's a full 4-hour show packed into a 30-minute time slot.
Extravaganza.
So 8 times the intensity, 8 times the snarkiness, 8 times the scraby, all in 30 minutes. And then Sam Levitt with Eco Wilder, SoCal Padres pregame show. We will be back tomorrow, 97.3 The Fan Roundtable, 10 to 11. Annie and Elsten from 11 to 2. For Braden Soprano and Annie Halvin, I'm Craig Elsten. Thank you for listening. Go Padres! This has been Annie and Elsten on The Fan.
Bye.